Prophet Marshall Occurrence back at it. So it's gonna be a continuation of this message about offering for physical wars. And this is about the physical offering, the offering of money put towards physical wars. This is why right now in this season you'll notice that all the Christians are not talking about it. They ain't talking about no offering. No, hold up. I want you to think about that. They talking about everything else. Fast a little bit, pray a little bit. They ain't talking about fasting. They ain't talking about giving the offering. Because that's really what's going to get this stuff done. It's nationwide, right? Against God's people. These Freemasons, these witchcraft people, they nationwide if you don't know. Okay, put two and two together. You go to each city, it's there, right? It's already there. Okay, so it's a nationwide community. Okay, so then, as a spiritually mature person, do you think prayer is going to move that? I'm not saying it can't. I'm saying someone who got credibility in spiritual warfare. You got credibility in spiritual warfare, right? Do you think, I'm talking to that crowd, right? Do you think that praying a little bit and fasting a little bit is going to move a nationwide community? It's time for the offering. That's why I keep talking about it, and I'm not going to talk about anything else that just make people feel good for the moment and everything like that. You know, everybody got to play their position, right? You know, but I'm not going to make messages that make people feel good and feel, you know, like I'm a Christian. I really don't care if you think I'm a Christian or not. I know I'm in war, and I'm going to do what I got to do to finish my war. Because what I'm going to prove is that the black man don't have to die. Because that's what people are so used to. Whether we go to politics or the streets, people are so used to a black man dying. That's basically what they holding their breath to see. You know, but this time, God's going to prove that his servant can survive. A black man can survive. It's come down to all of this. And you can talk about whatever you want, but you on clown time, and we not. We on warfare time. How about that? Y'all can be on demon time, clown time. We on warfare time. And warfare, it ain't just sitting out here shooting guns. You know, it ain't out here you know, it ain't the obvious things. You know, it's a whole psychology to warfare. And we on warfare time. Whatever made you see me as goofy, it's because you're goofy in your head. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. If you're goofy in your head, you're going to see everything as goofy. You're going to see me as a cartoon character because you a clown yourself. But look at your community. See, a clown can only see clown things. You know what I'm saying? You look right in somebody's face and you see them as goofy, and he the person that can tear you apart. Look at it for what it is. And see, we figure that out by the results. We look at the results. We see who's goofy and who's not. We see who's playing and who's not. Playtime been over, man. Playtime been over when I realized it was a collective effort of Americans fighting against me, which was 7 years ago. Playtime been over 7 years ago. See how long this been going on? They talking like it happened 3 months ago. That's how they want you to think. Man, it's been going on for 7 years. That's why they so obsessed with it. Why you think they so obsessed with it? For how long it's been going on. That's what it is. More than other than that, what are they doing that's so interesting that they still playing games after seven plus years? That's what it is. So, um, it's another part of Christianity that you're gonna be made well aware of. And it's the spirituality where we fight back and we go to war and we get real results in the real world. See, you done bumped into somebody who got real spirituality on the other side. That's basically what it is. And I guess you wanted to see if your spirituality could work against me. No, it can't. But mine can work against you. And what you've done against me is going to work against your community. And that's how it's working. So y'all work for me, basically. Listen, man, listen. Ain't no need to try to explain nothing because we already see it for what it is, man. You know, you insult my intelligence trying to explain something. You know what I'm saying? That's insulting my intelligence trying to explain. Ain't no need to try to explain. I know I done went through this a million times. I done went through the whole story a million times for the past, I count 3-4 years. I done went through this for 3-4 years, the same story. I already know what this is all about. I know what it consists of. You don't gotta inform me on nothing. Literally. About nothing. Your only thing you needed to do was bring my money. Okay? You decided not to do that? Okay? We're not gonna be stuck on stupid. We moving forward. It's that simple. It's that simple. It's nothing to see this talking over and over again is the Jedi mind trick. That's the Jedi mind trick. Talking over and over again. It's nothing else to talk about here. Okay? It's nothing else to talk about. Okay? You made up your mind not to get my money. You wanted to create a legend. You wanted to create this story like you. See, they went away where they thought they could manipulate this situation and make themselves look like us, like soldiers and legends and things. You know, people with heart, where it takes people to do things that consist of having heart. They wanted to be one of us with heart. They ain't have the follow through. You know, they ain't got the goods. And see, so money put you in a place where your heart couldn't keep you. Now you look like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? As a collective community. See, that's the power of white money. Because how we see it, Freemasons and all of them secret society, that's all white money at the end of the day. You're going to call white daddy, white sugar daddy to back you up. And you just thought I would succumb to this war, but you forgot how strong a black man is. You forgot how strong an African man is. Now you seeing firsthand what it is. See, I learned to be African on my own because all through all this stuff. So you might not learn in your lifetime because you always had black people in your corner. I didn't. So I learned to be African on my own. So I can stand on my own. The true test of African is that it can stand in the desert by itself. Like a tree, like an African tree. It can stand in the desert by itself. It's going to still be right there. You come back 5 years later, it's still right there, buddy. You come back, Trump come back in the office, I'm still here. Oh, Trump knew about me from the first administration, his first administration. Trump knew about me from his first term. He came back in, I'm still here because I'm an African tree, I'm going to still be here. In the same context that I was when you left. You thought I'd be wiped out by the time you came back. I'm still here. Trump know about me. Yeah, he do. That's why he mad. He mad at me because I outed him for not doing anything about child marriage. He ain't say nothing about child marriage laws, and it's the most incompetent. It's his most incompetent place in his whole presidency. Even right now, he still can't have this conversation. Your president cannot have this conversation with me. Okay, he can't talk to me face to face. And that's why he still can't stand me. Because listen, the prophet got a conversation that you can't talk. You can do whatever with these Christians in Nigeria. You could talk about whatever else. You could talk about all this stuff you're doing, but you can't have this conversation about child marriage laws in the United States of America. Trump can't have that conversation. And that's it. That's all. That's what I would tell his supporters, MAGA, all them people. Trump was in office when y'all passed new child marriage laws. Trump didn't do nothing about it. You could talk about he ain't had nothing to do with it, but he was incompetent to sit there and let it happen. And then they run around talking about pedophiles at the same time. That's what I'm talking about. So see, that's how I remain on top, just in case you didn't know. Just in case you thought you could come from my head like it's a rap battle or something. This is real beef, man. And you're not going to beat me in a rap battle. You're not going to beat me with a rap battle mentality. When y'all marrying children, that's the grown man's attack, buddy. That's the grown man's lane. Ain't no man can beat it. You can't beat it. And that's that. And so when you grow up, I've been waiting for you to grow up. It's taking some time for you to value things that real men value. When you start to realize all this talking about children, and then they've been marrying children the whole time, you realize I win. It's no manipulation. You insult my intelligence by trying to make an excuse. It's no excuse, bro. America had all these head honchos and gangsters thinking they protect children. Then all these people find out. If I talk to real head honchos and gangsters, and I tell them, you know America marrying children, right? Head honcho gonna say, what? Marrying children? How they marry children? That's the first question. How they marry children? They got child marriage laws. They got child marriage laws to marry children. Wow. When they passed the laws? They've had the laws the whole time. Since 1929. I stopped at 1929. I ain't need to go back no further, because for me, as an American black man, I don't care about nothing past 1929. That's good enough for me. I went back to 1929, and I found that they married children back to 1929. Wow, that means from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and all the 2000s. They've been marrying children the whole time. You can't come back from that. See, so that's why Trump hate me to this day. That's why he hate me to this day. That's what level I'm on. Why you playing psychological games? So see, it's not, even if you did win at that, and you would think that it's a child's attack that beat a grown man, we wouldn't honor that. It's nobody in the hood, it's no gangsters, it's nobody worth anything that's going to honor this little foolish psychological crap that you're doing. Okay, nobody's going to honor that, because they're going to be left with the real reality. That's all people deal with, is reality. Ain't no way people going to esteem you above me in your lifetime. I'm telling you why, though. Anybody could say this, right? And it wouldn't stick if they don't have any information. I have information why you can't outcome me. You can't overcome me in your lifetime. Your country marrying children. I'm the only relevant person that talked about it. You can't find me one relevant person that talked about it like I have. Show me one figure that pulled it all together on one timeline that talked about child marriage laws from 1929 to the present time. Not the issue, not the subject. We ain't talking about that. That's not OG. Not at all. That's fumbled. They fumbled. We talking about somebody who puts the whole timeline together. Not the issue where you still walk away not knowing that this country been marrying children the whole time. That's how you're walking away. You're walking away not knowing, when you hear from these other people and they tell you in their videos whenever it happened, they ain't telling you the whole timeline that these people have had it the whole time. I don't have to be good. I don't have to do nothing right anymore. That's what I'm trying to show you. I don't have to do nothing right. You marry children, it's over. Stop playing cartoon games. Like Tommy Davis said, stop doing psychological karate. Psychological karate, that's all this is. We don't care nothing about that. Stop with all this psychological karate, voguing around and all of this, man. Listen, I do it, it makes sense. You do it, you make a fool of yourself. It doesn't make sense, you're caught, bro. Y'all country married children. That's all we talking about. You can't get past that in the black man's world. Ain't no black man here gonna give you the benefit of the doubt in his right mind. When he realized he grew up here just like everybody else, right? He grew up here like everybody else. You was under the assumption that America protect children, right? That's what you thought. You didn't think nothing about no child marriage. You didn't think nothing was going on like that. You thought this country protected at least children, right? That's not true. So when a grown man hears this information, he goes, oh, nah, hold up. Nah, this dude, this is America, right? This is not these other countries. You know, this is America. We did not know this. We did not know they were having no sex with no children, marrying children. No. And we ain't even going to let it be played like we halfway knew. We didn't even halfway know this. As a collective community, we didn't even halfway know. And that's how I want you to act. Like you didn't halfway know, because you didn't. And then I want you to realize I single-handedly am the only person, sole person, that has went out to your government, your White House, your military, your mayors, your governors, and your superintendents of every school, of the school system. I emailed them and connected and communicated to them personally. Not nobody working for me. Everybody wanted to play that position once they figured it out. I'm the only one man that went to that emailed the White House, the real White House email, not the fake, not a bogus email. I sent my email to the real White House during the Biden administration and let them know that this country was marrying children, right? I went to every governor during the Biden administration. That's 50 governors. I went to every mayor and emailed every mayor of every great metropolis in the United States. Any city you can think about. Phoenix, Tucson, Santa Fe. You go through the list. Tampa, Miami, Atlanta. All these cities. New York. I went through every borough. I contacted all the system, the superintendents, the school, the teachers. Me, back to me. Manually. I emailed all the teachers. Couldn't do an email blast. I had to find each role, if you will, where I could go down a list and email like that. I had to find each site to do it. I emailed. This is my work. Just in case you think I'm playing. This is my work. Just in case you think I'm a delinquent, right? Just in case you think I'm a jailbird and I'm bent on violence, right? Well, I ain't got no real credibility as a sophisticated leader and advocate against this. I went to the president. I went to the White House. I went to the governors. I went to the mayors. What did you do? Oh, get on the video. Oh, by the way, most of those leaders didn't go to the governors and mayors. Most likely. They didn't go to the superintendents. I guarantee you they didn't go to the school teachers. I went to the school teachers. I emailed Compton High in Compton, California. I found Compton High and went through all the list of all the school teachers in Compton High School. They know because of me. Compton High School know because of me. That's my work. I contacted Compton. Why, what you doing? What you doing? Oh, contacting the merchants, talking about pedophiles out here in the streets. I contacted Compton, buddy. You see where you at? And ain't no listen, among real ones and killers and gangsters and thugs and real soldiers, it ain't no manipulation that you can do. I already proved you're beneath me. Okay? This is how I proved it. Every secret society little lame like you is way, way, way beneath me. The only thing that make you even considered is that you have the heartbeat of a human being. If it wasn't for that, you'll be stepped on. The only thing keeping you alive is that you got a human heart that people have some little bit of compassion for. I have all this credibility, and you still played with me, didn't you? That's why there is no mercy. Now you see what I'm saying? It would be one thing. That's why I ain't worried about views, because I took this information to the right people, and I got money off of it. So while you tripping like a teenager, sitting back eating honey mustard and chicken nuggets, like a little teenager eating honey mustard and chicken nuggets, I got this information into the hands of the authorities. I got it to the governors. I got it to the mayors. I got it to the White House. You care about psychological stuff, or you care about this? No, you can go check. You can go check my records. Go check my records. I'm pretty sure you got my email. Go check my email, sucker. I know you got my email because you erased some of my You erased some of my emails that came to me. You got my email. Go check. Listen. Go check my email and see where I emailed. Go check my Gmails and go check and see where I emailed the White House. I emailed governors, mayors, all the superintendents over major cities, over every major city. This is my work. This is my portfolio. This is my portfolio for why we have the right to destroy these people in this community. No, buddy, listen. You can't slip like that. You can't slip talking about child molesters. And then this person you talking about done went to the mayors, the governors, not to cover his butt, out of passion for the truth to be revealed. Right? And God knows that, right? But I wouldn't even need to have the right spirit. Nobody cares about that. We only care about this information getting out. We don't care about what the person is acting like and thinking like. I went to the mayors, the governors. I went to your president. I went to the White House. That's what sets me aside from these animals. Those are roaches. Them roaches. And guess what? Here's the punchline for the gangsters and head honchos and real ones. Here's the punchline. Here's the punchline. I got money off of it. They sent me money. Off the information. Not begging nobody. I told them in the email. I sent the same email, cut and paste, right? Copy, paste, right? Okay. I send the same email to everybody, the same identical email. And at the end of the email, when I give the information on the timeline of child marriage in America, I leave my Cash App and my PayPal and tell them, if you're grateful for this information, show your gratefulness by giving me a Cash App to show that you're grateful for it. If you're grateful for this information, my Cash App is right here. Even the dollar is appreciated. They sent me enough money to go grocery shopping if I wanted to. Guess what I did? I put that money right back in God's kingdom. Every dime. I didn't even touch it. I could have went and flexed and did this and did that with just the fact that somebody sent me money. I could have flexed that I done got money off of telling people that your country marrying children. While you talking about pedophiles, I could have flexed with money from information about y'all being pedophiles. Guess what I did? I put the money all the way back in God's kingdom. I put all of it back there. Every dime I sent the cash hit and sent the whole thing back into God's kingdom. I sent the whole thing back into God's kingdom where somebody sent me. And you play with that person. Listen, bro, it's a death sentence to those who oppose me. I got too much rank for you, little buddy. See, you didn't know all of this. How could you have known? I emailed all the teachers, Compton High School teachers. Compton High School teachers. All the teachers in Compton High know because of me that this country marries children. I went to Compton with this. Teachers can't unsee it. Once you see the email, they're gonna look at every email because of the kids and the students. They're gonna look at the emails and everything like that, right? Okay. So with that being said, they can't unsee it. I sent it to all the teachers. I sent the email to all the teachers. You see where you at? Why? And what's your work against me? Oh, go telling people ignorant stuff that you couldn't prove, that you couldn't really prove it. Man, come on, listen, bro, listen. In psychological war, you couldn't prove this if you wanted to because it's too much spiritual war going on. You couldn't prove this. Ain't nobody gonna believe it. That's called incompetency. Now, if I really was who you said I was, you would have more than one means. You would have more than one means to proving it. Think about it. You would have more than one means to proving it. You don't. I got more than one means to proving this about you. And that's how you know it's the truth. Because you got more than one means to prove it. Yes, sir. So you thought it was a game, bro. I found more than one way to prove this. Okay? I found more than one way to prove this about you. So all you doing is trying to rush and find some psychological stuff that ain't going to be ever good enough to prove nothing and to do nothing against me. Because God is just waiting for somebody to try me on some psychological stuff. I'm just letting you know with the game you playing that I'm aware of. Right? Ain't nobody, God ain't going to let nobody touch me over those psychological stuff as many games you've been playing psychological. Most people will say, he could have lost his mind already from all the stuff you done. So you ain't going to be able to get a good read on this person anyway. I'm not saying I have. But if you realize the full magnitude and you judge it properly for all the psychological games they played against me, most people going to say you ain't going to be able to get a good read on that person. That person could have been, you could have drove that person crazy for all the stuff you done. Okay? When you know what you've done, ain't nobody gonna come in and say, oh well, yeah, we think he is. No, you running him through hoops, and we know that. Okay, so that's not being called as a pedophile. Running somebody through psychological hoops, that's a 7 out. Running somebody through psychological hoops is not proving they a pedophile, buddy. No, it's not. You ain't gonna never ever see me. Let me tell you something about me. You ain't gonna never see me won't have any interest in American children and helping American children at all because of all that you've done. I don't have no desire to be around your children or help your children in any form or fashion. Key words for you. I have no desire to be around your children whatsoever. And everybody gonna feel me and understand why. It's not no mystery. It's not because I'm a bad person. It's because you played so many games using children and gang stalking. We know you did. Okay, so then why would I want to embrace your children as an American community? Why would I want to do that? After you done played all these games with your children. Let's be real. Let's not give the perfect answers of how I should behave. Let's be real and look at how many times they played games with children. Now, why would I want to embrace their children? Let's be real. Let's be real. No, I don't want to embrace your children. I don't want nothing to do with your children. That's how it is, man. Most people could say, oh man, look, you could be crazy for all they did against you. So we ain't gonna judge your mind. No, we ain't judging your mind. You could be bugged out at every turn because of all the games they played. So my point is this. I'm gonna get the benefit of the doubt from a smart person. If once they realize you played games for over 7 years plus with this person's mind, right? They gonna give me the benefit of the doubt. They ain't trying to hear nothing. You know, you played with this person for years and years. You were supposed to be smart enough to figure that out within the first couple months. You were supposed to hit the ground running. You didn't do that, did you? Okay, so you gave this person enough time to get their guard up and know what you're doing. Once I know what you're doing, game over. I'm called you out on everything you're doing. Now, all you're doing now is running me through psychological hoops. Because I know what you're doing, so why would I give into it? Why would I think like you want me to think? And I know you're doing it on purpose. I know you're trying to make me out to be a sex predator. So why would I fall victim to that thinking, that mentality? Why would I fall victim to it? It's common sense. It's what a smart man gonna think about. He ain't gonna give in to something he telling you doing from A to B. He already know what you're doing. From A to Z, he already know. Okay, so why you gonna give in to it? So it's too late. You can't read him now because he already know what you're doing. So you're supposed to get that information when his guard is down, when he don't know what you're doing. That's how you figure out who he is. You know what I'm saying? Once he know what you're doing, game over. Anybody gonna tell you that? So now I know what you're doing. Imagine me going out here playing around some kids, and I know what you're doing. It's not gonna happen. Even a real pedophile is not gonna go play around no children when they know what you're doing. Game over. You ain't gonna find them playing around children. So that's what all the community gonna care about anyway. Is he gonna be out here playing with these children? He don't do. You already done. He already got his guard up, right? He ain't gonna do nothing with no children now. The worst kind of pedophile ain't gonna do nothing. Why would I do that? And I know you got all these people walking and looking around and playing around. Stupid. The best thing you should have did, if you try to catch pedophiles, you should have created a whole normal atmosphere where this person feels totally comfortable, and they let their guard down, and then you see what they actually do. Once you did all this stuff to try to prove something, you went so hard trying to prove something, right? That anybody gonna put their guard up, and you ain't gonna be able to see them do nothing that they naturally would do in a situation if they was a pedophile, right? You ain't gonna never see that happen. Once he know what you're doing. Once I know what you're doing, why would I go out here and why would I go make a mistake? You stupid, man. The smartest way you could find out if somebody was a pedophile was to let them be totally normal. Like feel nobody's watching, feeling nobody's following them in their footsteps, and they gonna let their guard down and make mistakes. Now, who's gonna make mistakes now? Stupid, bruh. I would let a person just sit there and be who they are. And you gonna get comfortable and make mistakes. If you really are a pedophile, you gonna go. I ain't even gonna throw no children your way, cause Your vibration can tell that's fake. A man like me, I know you doing that on purpose. Right? I got African intuition. I know you're doing it on purpose. So what I would do is just let the person be normal. And guess what? I'm going to figure it all out. Because if I just let him be and he does nothing wrong, that tells me everything I need to know. If I let him be and he doesn't do anything wrong, that tells me everything about this person that I need to know. He's not a threat to children. He does whatever he does other things with grown men or women, and I don't need to know anything else. That's all I need to know. So my method will work every day of the week over yours. I'm gonna just let the person be normal. I'm gonna let him be. And who he is who he is. He don't make no mistakes. Hey, that's it. That's all I wanted to know. That's all I wanted to see. I don't see no mistakes. I'm done with it. You chose to, with the goofy little American girls and boys that you got in your little dumb community, you tried to prove, just like a white boy's mistake, you tried to prove it, make it work. You tried to make it stick on me, and it didn't work. You was too excessive with trying to make it work. Just like a redneck cop would be, trying to make it stick and work, and made a fool of yourself. Now you exposed everything you was doing. That ain't how you catch no pedophile. I would let them be totally normal. And then he gonna let his guard down and do whatever. And then if he don't, that tells me he's an innocent person. As far as human standards, he ain't out here doing nothing to nobody. He ain't out here doing nothing to no children. I check back. Oh, he ain't done nothing? He ain't got no charges? Oh, okay, we done with that. Boom. We done with that. As far as I would go, 3 years. I go 3 years. Okay, yeah, I'm done with that. 3 years, he ain't done nothing? He ain't done nothing with no kids? Okay, we done. That's it. But you made it a game. That's the white boy in you. Even as a black man, you made it a game. That's the white boy in you. Just in case you don't think you got no white boy in you. As one of these Africans running around here. Okay, that's the white boy in you right there. Ain't no black man gonna play them kind of games. You know what I'm saying? Nah, I don't care for money or nothing. I ain't playing no kind of game, losing my funk and losing my blackness over playing games with a black man. No, I don't care if it's for kids or not. Because if we just let him be who he is, it's gonna get figured out. If it don't get figured out and he just minding his business, that tells me everything I need to know. I ain't going no further than that. I don't need to. Because there's people out here in this country marrying children. Now, why? Now, imagine me nitpicking this person when they're marrying children over here. I ain't going that far. They already marrying children in this country anyway. Why would I go extra far with this person and they're doing the same thing over here, extra? They doing the same thing. So I ain't going but so far within reason, being that my country is marrying children. That's what I'm going to say. No, I ain't. Why go this far for it? They doing it right over here. They doing the same thing. Stupid, bro. That's why everybody's not built to do this kind of stuff, bro. That's what I'm saying. You're not a master. You thought you was. Now you're listening to one. Because what I would have did was I would have just let you be normal. Okay. We don't see him doing nothing. That's it. That's all we wanted to know. That's all we care about at the end of the day. He going from city to city. That's gonna really show us what he about. If he go to a city and come in and out of a city without touching any children or doing any interact, then that tells us, if you see this over and over again, he keep coming in and out of cities unscathed, not doing nothing wrong. Oh, that tells us what type of person this is. This is a traveling person. This is a person that traveled because he was a musician. And he wanted to do his music, and that's why he got that traveling bone in him. Okay, we figured that out. He got real talent. He done been heard by a famous person, so he's not traveling in vain. At least according to his mind. He knows he has talent. He's been heard by a famous person and respected for his talent. So it's not like he's just a blind person going around thinking he got talent, but he don't. Okay, yeah, that part. So a famous person done acknowledge my music, heard my music, acknowledged it, everything like that, right? Okay, boom. So put yourself in my shoes. You done been heard by a famous person. You don't think you got talent. Of course you know you got talent. And you're going to be more confident than ever. So that explains why I went city to city. Okay, that explains it. It's not terrorism. It's not drifter. It's not even a drifter. You can't even say I was a drifter. I'm a person with talent. Obviously. That's what I am. Okay? So that covers the traveling. But you would have been able to see me going in and out of cities unscathed, ain't got doing nothing sketchy. That's the true test of who I was. I'm going city to city. Oh, he ain't doing nothing with no children. Oh, he ain't in no questionable places. He know how to move. We don't see him just hanging around children. We don't see that either. We ain't never seen that. He coming to a city here around grown men and women, doing what grown men and women do in every situation and scenario. You lose, buddy. You lose as far as an investigation. Where if I go city to city and come in and out of city without any charges, without anything, and then you don't find me even questionable, even nothing questionable, you lose, bro. It's that simple. Okay? It's that simple, bro. That's how it's done. It's nothing else to it. It's nothing gonna be else to it. Okay? If I come in and out of a city and you don't see me move like where I'm just hanging around, play children's zones, school zones, or nothing, you see me move as a grown man would that live a grown man life. I entertain grown adults, right? I don't entertain children. So I'm looking for adults, right, to be with, right? And you see that constant, consistent pattern, right, where it makes sense. Wherever I'm at, it always gonna make sense. Listen, bro. Listen. You got so goofy, you didn't realize you had all the evidence of who I was right there in front of you. If I go city to city and I come out, a pedophile don't come city to city without making mistakes. It's going to be something. It's going to be something in public. It's going to be something, some lewd acts in public, nakedness in public, something. That's what I'm looking at. That's what most good people going to look at. Something on the table. Something strange and weird where we can say, okay, that kind of matched the behavior of what we talking about. Okay, we found him in Walmart in this city doing something crazy. Think about if you homeless too. You're going to be left to your own devices. And if a sex predator is left to his own devices and he broke and homeless, what you think he going to succumb to? Catching a charge out here. Doing something in public, something, because he left to his own devices. He ain't got to go to work. So what he gonna do? Just sit around and not do nothing? That's a Christian. That's what I am. I'm minding my business, doing what God want me to do on the streets. A person that's a loser, that's a pedophile, they gonna go off track and just do what they want to do. Think about it. And you don't see no behavior of that on the streets. You don't see me going rogue and doing something crazy and then catching charges, these lewd charges or some sexual nature charges. You don't see none of that, not one. You have to admit, I'm a normal person, bro. That's all it is to it. You played yourself, you went off history, and most of us still got some wrong history, but we still normal people, right or wrong. See, that's the punchline. You just played with somebody who you think had some questionable history. But the truth is, most of us do. And that you know too, I'm sure. Okay, so all I was just another person with some questionable sexual history at best that panned out to be normal like the rest of us. That grew up and grew out of anything I was doing like the rest of us. And that's it. That's basically summing it up. And you couldn't accept it. So you played a cornball position, like I'm walking around, like I'm going to do stuff that I did as a kid. You know what I'm saying? And the truth is, all of us grew out of the things we used to do. Okay, we grew out of it. I'm no different. But you being the cornball that you are, with my brother, you try to act like that's anything, what you heard is who I am right now. You know what I mean? You want me to smell like what you heard, and I don't smell like what you heard. That's the best way to put it. I don't smell like what you heard. I don't look like what you heard. And you a clown and a cornball for thinking like that. I don't consider you a cultured human being. Well, if you was a cultured human being, you would realize most of these people got questionable sexual history as a child. Especially as a child. Okay, but we gonna grow up and grow out of things and see things from the right way. And we always give people that benefit of the doubt and that time to do that. That's that's what the justice system gonna do. They ain't gonna judge a man as a child as a man. No, you ain't gonna judge what somebody did as a child and judge them the same way as a grown man, like they would do that right now. You know what I'm saying? So see, only a lame, whether it be police, I'm telling you, I'm older than most of these police now, so I can really say it in this stick. Half of y'all are lames. Half of you police are lames. I'm older than you. I'm older than the average police on the beat at my age now. Now, maybe 10 years ago I wasn't. Now, 10 years later, I'm older than half of you cops. Okay, take another look. I'm not 20 years old, buddy. I know I look good. I look good because I took care of myself. I've always been remarkably youthful looking, young looking, to the point where you can't believe it. You know what it was? Listen, I can tell you about my life, sucker. You can't tell me about mine, right? I can tell you why I am who I am and why I even look how I look. You can't tell me nothing about me. You know why I look like this? Because I took my vitamins. That might sound funny, but I took my vitamins all through my 20s. I'm one of them dudes. Instead of really working out, I worked out too. But my strong suit was taking my vitamin consistently as a young man when you need it. Not waiting till you old, busted, and disgusted, and then use to take the vitamin. To repair, I used the vitamin to preserve instead of to repair. You get old, busted, and disgusted, you start using the vitamin to stay above water. You know, I use the vitamin to preserve my youth. And I'm a witness that if you take a vitamin in your 20s, you will look young all your life. You will look like the Egyptians, where people just can't believe you look so young. Because I took my vitamins, I took care of my body. So that explains why I look so young. And it really does. I actually literally grew as a man with the vitamins. I'm a poster boy for it. I'm a poster boy for taking your vitamins at a young age and how you're supposed to grow up and how you're supposed to look. Why most of these people look old and you think that's because they look mature? They aging because they don't take no vitamins. All these rappers and stuff, you say, look, even Tupac, how he looked so older, Tupac probably wasn't taking no vitamins. He was aging. You don't want to look at it that way, but it's true. Look at half of these rappers. They were aging. They're smoking. They're drinking. They're not taking no vitamins. That's why they're not preserved. I took my vitamins all through my 20s. You don't think it's going to do nothing? Ask a doctor. A doctor going to tell you he took his vitamins through his 20s. Right on, bro. That's what you're supposed to do. You preserved your skin. You preserved your body. You preserved everything. Your brain and everything. I see why you are the way you are. You took your vitamins in your 20s. In your 20s now. He gonna clarify that in your 20s. In my early 20s too, on top of that. I'm talking about like 21, 22, 23. Round in there. Early 20, not even mid 20. By 25, I was definitely taking my vitamins. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that explains why I look so youthful and preserved, right? Right? And you probably won't find many Americans that have done the same thing. And some will say it's because I'm a prophet. God looked out for me and preserved my life and my body. That's why. And I just used wisdom. I did what nobody else wanted to do. It's too late if you try now. I mean, you can maintain, but you ain't gonna grow youthful. You can't go backwards from wear and tear. You know, and just from your skin, how it looked, everything, man. This is from years and years of taking vitamins. While everybody else was eating red meat and pork and all that and everything, I switched over to turkey. And really, I didn't really eat beef that much because I switched over to turkey. I switched over to turkey bacon, turkey, and pork. I really didn't eat a lot of pork at all, really. You know what I'm saying? Bacon here and there, chitlins for the holidays, things like that. That's once a year. So that's another thing. My stepdad said, you know, why I look good more than the rest of the family is because I stopped eating red meat. He noticed. Everybody noticed. My own stepdad said it. The reason why, he said, he told the family, the reason why he's so preserved because he stopped eating red meat. I did. I stopped eating beef. I was going I was gonna stop eating meat altogether. I was gonna be a vegan. I didn't like it though. I didn't like being a vegan. Nah, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. But I do have. I will say this. I have more compassion on animals. As far as eating animals, I'm a little more conscious of it these days. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I'm spiritual. You know, I realize the animal laid his life down, like the Native Americans. The animal laid his life down for me to live. You know, you got to be conscious of that. Think about it like soldiers. I mean, a military-minded person gonna think like this animal laid his life down for me to survive. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So the closest thing to that would be Native American mentality. Like the Native American, from my understanding, when he killed his prey, he would in some way be thankful to the prey for the meal, the life. So I'm similar to that now. I'm more conscious of the reality of the life of the animal, and that I'm eating it. I'm just consuming it, and you know, and some people never are conscious of that. You know, but just to say I would be a vegan, for me, for strength, I wouldn't. Like if I had to go do something which requires strength, you know, and then you don't have a lot of money on top of that. It's not inexpensive to be a vegan. You got to have money. If you really are really one and you really playing by the book. So sometimes, man, people give in to meat just because they can't afford to be a vegan. You know, keep that in mind too. You know, everybody can't afford to be no vegan. That's real. That's real. They can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? You know, so some people look down on others. You know, and the truth is one thing you leave out is that we all can't, you know, afford to be no vegan. You know what I'm saying? You're lucky if you can afford it, but even if you want to do it, you're lucky if you can afford it. So, but I'm definitely more conscious of the life of the animal that sustains me. But I would have to have in my diet enough protein. You know what I'm saying? Energy as a man. Most men are gonna kind of go with eating meat because of the protein, if not for anything else. The energy and the protein that it gives, you know, to the body, you know, for strength. You know, that's one of the main reasons men will most likely always keep meat in their diet. And so, you know, that's basically where it's at for me as far as on those issues there. But you know, I'm basically a foodie. You know what I'm saying? I'm a foodie, but because I'm from North Carolina, I grew up eating all different types of food or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I need spiritual results. I need stuff to happen. I need this stuff to pop off. I need spiritual warfare. And I realize what I gotta do to have it. To have it, you gotta do it. To do it, I don't want to say it backwards. That might not make sense, but you gotta to have it. You gotta do it, man. You know, for people that think it's a game, man, it's all the way up. See those signal people? That's all. That's a person that's signaling, thinking some way in the mind they got played around my mind. That's just, man. Listen, bro. Like I said, the psychological karate is dead, bro. That's dead. Okay, it's gone. No one cares. You know what we looking at now is these wars that's about to pop off, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's what we looking for now. Okay, because proving that I'm a human being is going to be very common of a feat. You know, I'm not perfect, but I ain't out here marrying no children like the Americans. yeah, I'm not marrying, but the cops are sitting around stupid. Didn't even know your country was marrying children. Oh, how I know for sure? I went to the cops and asked them, did they know about child marriage? They didn't even know. The cops didn't even know. Once I got 2 cops that didn't know that y'all marry children, 2 cops now, 2 of them, I bashed them together, bro. Tell them about child marriage. I bashed them together. You know how you see in the movies where the guy bashes 2 people together. I bashed 2 cops together, bruh. 2 5-0s. I bashed together, buddy. You can't listen, man. I'm gonna tell you something. For police that's younger than me, most of you little bastards are younger than me. Let me tell you something, buddy. Let me tell you something. The old America that you thought you was never real. And you know how? Not according to these children. You was marrying children the whole time, bro. So then don't insult my intelligence like you Hunter or you're MacGyver or one of these police characters, man. Listen, go try them corny white boys like that. Go try them corny black people like that. I know that you marry children in the United States of America. Stop playing with me, bro. Yeah, now you in my world and you're scared because you're a coward. You're scared to accept the real America. The one that never protect children. And you don't know what that path is going to lead you to. If you just accept the truth that your country has been marrying children this whole time, having sex with children this whole time. You don't know where to go from there because you're a coward. I've embarked past the point of this information. And I've embarked out to your community and told them, the governor, the mayors, all of them, even the school system, about you marrying children. I went out and embarked out to the deep, buddy. You still on the seashore. That's why I don't pay you no attention. So when you sound your sirens, the next time you do that, keep that in mind, little buddy. Good buddy. Good buddy. I'm gonna give you a nickname from the 50s, the good buddy. Look, good buddy. Police good buddy, ain't you? Let me tell you something, man. Good buddy. I done went to your White House about this. Listen, listen. Trump can't even talk to me. He can't even have a conversation. I'm waiting for that conversation. I'm gonna tell you like a gangster. I'm waiting for that conversation. Trump can't have a conversation with the big dog, buddy. I'm the big dog. He can't have it. Because whatever you talking about on me, you ain't got receipts. I'm gonna come in pulling up receipts. I ain't gonna ask no questions. The only question I'm gonna ask you is why you didn't do nothing about the child marriage laws that were passed while you was the president? What he gonna say? Ain't nothing he can say. That's why he don't like me. What he probably thought about it. He ain't got nothing he can say. What you gonna say? What is done is done. You was in the White House a whole year after child marriage laws were passed in the United States. Trump was in office a whole year, and he said nothing after that for a full whole year after the laws were passed. The laws were passed July 1st, 2019, July 1st, 2020. We was in the middle of COVID. He was still in the White House. He said nothing. And he still has not said nothing because and this is why, because he don't want you to go back and look at the whole history, and he don't want to reveal that America been marrying children this whole time. He don't want you to realize that America has been marrying children this whole time. That's why he ain't said nothing. Oh, I know he done thought about it. But if he say something, all his followers in all of America is going to go instantly and do a Google search. That's the first thing you're going to do as an American. You know, if Trump say child marriage laws in America, what you going to do? First thing you're going to do, Google it. Oh, man, you putting the video down on the window. Let me go. You putting it down on the window. You putting a little video on the window. Boom. You going right to the Google search. Child marriage laws. Oh, I can't believe this. I can't believe my eyes. My eyes must be failing me. My sight is failing me in my older ages. My sight is failing me. Let me get my reading glasses. Let me get my reading glasses. Let me get my reading glasses I got from Walgreens. Let me get my reading glasses I got from Walgreens. You see what I've been, bro? You see what I've been doing? Now you see why they hate me. You see why, don't you? See, if you're not careful, you're going to think, oh, well, they say he was a pedophile. That's why they don't like him. No, that ain't why. No, update yourself. They don't like me because I'm talking about this child marriage laws. That's what they don't like. I talked to a preacher. I'm gonna give you a good story. This is the last story. I'm gonna get off this child marriage stuff because I'm on a whole another level now. You know, but I have to give the foundation. I gotta show you the pavement that I'm stepping on that makes me king. Why I'm ruler. This is why I'm ruler. Ain't no way in the world you're gonna rule over me and marry children, buddy. No, sir. And then you contradicted yourself on top of that. You contradicted yourself. No, sir, buddy. Listen, I was in Denver, Colorado, coming back from the West Coast on my way back to the East Coast. I was in Denver, Colorado, just walking around. Let me tell you the whole story. So it was like in May, right? So it was like beautiful, beautiful weather in May in Denver. So I'm there and everything, you know. So me being me, I'm just go out and try to find food. I had a big layover, but I had a little food on my card, and I needed something to eat. You know, I'm traveling for 3 days, you know, across country. So I'm at Denver. I'm like, I got this time, you know, this window to go to the grocery store. Literally, I had that much time on my hands. So I ain't gonna stand in there in the Greyhound with the gang stalkers playing games. You already know they playing games, you know what I'm saying? So that was another reason I just had an opportunity to just go give me something to eat. So so I walked a couple blocks and I just walked around. I know how to venture out very easily and be resourceful with my venturing outs, right? So I went to like a little, I think it might have been a CVS or something. I think it might have been a CVS. And ultimately I was trying to get some stuff there. And then the dude was like, why don't you just go to the grocery store right down here, right? So ultimately, that's what I did. I went to like the grocery store and I got me some sandwich meat, some bread, some cheese, all, you know what I'm saying? I think I got some chips and stuff too and everything. Got me a little shake, got me some little chocolate shake or whatever. You know, so then I came back to the Greyhound, sat down outside of where the gang stalkers are. I'm gonna sit out there by the buses. I ain't gonna sit there and listen to the ignorant people that's playing psychological game. See, this is how you know I'm a veteran. I ain't finna sit in the middle of no gang stalkers and fix my sandwiches in the Greyhound. They got their kids. They gonna play games with their kids and psychological games. This is how I made it. I avoided these people. This is how you do it. You don't sit in the middle of that and try to prove anything. See, that right there, all it's gonna do is make you mad. I'm telling you, when you lash out. Because they ain't going to get you, but they ain't going to ever beat you because you know you ain't no pedophile. Okay, so you won already. But they going to play these little games that make you angry, right? And you're going to wind up lashing out at somebody. So for me, I learned to not even be around them. You know what I'm saying? So I know they was all through the Greyhound. This is why we still getting revenge. Like I told my enemies, we want revenge for what was done in the Greyhounds. Okay, I still want revenge for that. Yeah, they gang stalked me cross country. You ever been gang stalked cross country? From Greyhound station to Greyhound station to Greyhound station, and people sitting in your seats and know they ain't assigned to your seats. You know what seats you assigned to. I come to my seats and there's a little girl. All you're trying to do is trigger my mind. But I'm a better man than you. In this case, it was a woman. I'm a better adult than you. I'm going to let you sit in my seat with your little funky kid, and I'm going to listen. That's okay. And you going to put me in another place and try to gang stalk me there. And that didn't work either. Okay? So I still want revenge for all the gang stalking they did through the Greyhound this past spring, in springtime, on my way back through the Greyhound, right? Through the spring, from back and forth, from the East Coast to the West Coast, to the West Coast to the East Coast. I still want revenge for that. Yes, sir. I don't forget nothing. That was less than a year ago, Why should I forget it? I want revenge for everything that happened within a year's time. That's about right. And this was less than a year ago. So anyway, I'm traveling. I'm up in Denver now. You know what I'm saying? I went grocery shopping like a soldier gonna do. I'm gonna find my way. I'm gonna go out among the locals and find my way. I came back with my meat like a lion's supposed to. And so I came back into the Greyhound station, right? So I sat outside the doors where you line up, you know. I sat on the other side of the doors outside as to wait for the buses. And there was some city buses out there too, but it was just a quiet tunnel-like place in the Denver Greyhound. So I sat out there and sat down like, you know, like a street dude gonna sit down. I sat down, made my little food, sat down Indian style on the ground and had my little food laid out, made my little sandwiches, right? But before I got there, like four Christian people, so-called, they might have been Illuminati Christians. I know it's no such thing, but anyway, so this preacher, white guy, came up to me, and little did he know I was a preacher myself, a Christian myself. I had my mask on, my ski mask and everything on and everything like that, right? So he started talking to me about the Lord, and I told him I was a Christian. So we started talking about the Word of God. So we started talking about, this is me. I told you, I'm a real prophet. I correct preachers. This preacher didn't even know. This is a preacher that's on a card as a preacher, and he got a card with a team of people like he's a preacher. But he didn't know that alcohol is in the Bible. Drinking is in the Bible. Somehow we got into that conversation right there at the Greyhound as I'm about to go out and eat. They called me right as I was about to go out and eat, right? So I'm talking to him, right? I'm talking to him. So I said, nah, that's in Proverbs. You can go look in Proverbs and you can see that this is a preacher. I was like, you can go look in Proverbs and alcohol is in the Bible right there in Proverbs. And he was like, oh, no, that's in Ecclesiastes. He was like, nah, that's in Ecclesiastes. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's in Proverbs. So it's just me and like 2 or 3 other people looking. And it's not a standoff, but you know, me and him talking and they're looking. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that's in Proverbs, you know. So he looked it up. And he was like, oh, okay, amen, praise God. You know, that's how he talk. Because he was corrected. I corrected him. You know what I'm saying? And then, so he received that correction. He humbled himself. You know what I'm saying? And this is a preacher. Probably ordained in a church and everything like that. So I always relate to preachers anyway because my relationship with God is so strong. You know, I'm going to relate to somebody who really in the trenches, who really seek God, who fast, who read the word, who stay close to God, who stay up under God. You know, the congregation is going to always, no disrespect, but a lot of them going to be lacking behind. You know, they ain't fasting. They always eating chips. Hey, Christian people got the bag of chips in their car all the time, eating chips while they ride around. Yeah. Eating chips with a little water bottle. They got the water bottle and chips in the car, don't they? I mean, they never fasting. They never seeking the Lord. Look, man. So I was talking to the preacher, and I told him about Proverbs 31. Well, Proverbs. I knew it was a proverb. Now I know for sure it's Proverbs 31. See, this is why we got to be sharp. Because, see, that preacher could have misled me. He was talking about Ecclesiastes, and see, that's how sharp we gotta be. You know what I'm saying? Don't never say something you ain't sure about it. You know what I'm saying? He said Ecclesiastes, and then he was explaining how that wasn't meant to Christians, for Christians. That was meant for just like the people of that day or something like that, how he put it. Like it was almost poetic or something like that for people of the day or whatever. He was saying something to that effect. And I was like, basically the scriptures in Proverbs, right? He was like, nah, that's Ecclesiastes. So he found out what I was talking about was in Proverbs. You know what I'm saying? I don't talk about anything that I can't talk about intelligently. That's my rule. If I can't talk about it intelligently, I don't talk about it. because you're gonna make a fool out of yourself. It's gonna be some holes in the story or holes in what you're talking about, and you ain't gonna be able to explain certain things. You know what I'm saying? So anytime you hear me talk about anything, I can talk about it intelligently. That's why you should trust me talking about the streets. I can talk about anything intelligently. If anything I talk about it intelligently. You know what I'm saying? But am I gonna go into drug dealing? And I don't talk about drug dealing because I wasn't. I didn't sell weight. I didn't sell kilos of drugs. So you ain't gonna never hear me talk about weight and ounces and pounds of cocaine or weed or scales or anything, because I didn't do that. Okay, so I ain't gonna talk about nothing I can't talk about intelligently. But now when I was was I violent? I was. You know what I'm saying? I can talk about that intelligently. I can talk about having the mind of a killer intelligently. And it's not one and the same. A drug dealer and a killer is not one and the same. Now, I can tell you that I have cut up crack cocaine in my life to sell it. I ain't never do it in my life because my family installed in me not to do cocaine. So when the time came when my drug dealers, friends that I used to hang around, used to sell drugs, when they wanted to do cocaine one night with me, I decided not to. We were sitting around smoking and drinking 40s and smoking weed like homies do. And it's that sweet spot where they get at and they ask you, yo, you want to do some cocaine? And I'm like, these kids, these guys got cars. You know, I'm a younger kid. I'm like 16. So I could have easily been a little 16-year-old kid doing robberies and doing, because that cocaine going to get you hustling. Trying to get cocaine, not crack, is going to have you running for money. You're going to try to do big licks to get the money. You know what I mean? And not crack. Now crack, I don't know. It look like it make people lazy. That cocaine hype people up. Everybody said, from people that I know, that the person that, from what I seen, and the person I know that did cocaine, they get energy. You know what I'm saying? But when the dealers that I used to get my crack from, when we was smoking weed and hanging out one night, they was like, yo, Donnell, man, you want to do a little bit of cocaine? I was like, nah, I'm cool, man. I don't do. See, your drug dealers do cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Like, not crack, but cocaine. And some of them fall off and start doing crack too. That's something that, I mean, to me, I'm surprised like a rapper like maybe Tupac or these other rappers didn't talk about a drug dealer turning to crack cocaine. Because that's something that really happened in the 90s. You know, we all knew that one flashy drug dealer that used to sell drugs that we all looked up to, either whether they was in our family or outside of our family on the block or whatever. And it was always this cool drug dealer that had the whole full persona in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s, so you know, I can't speak for now, but we had the personas. You know what I'm saying? Some people they ain't have a lot. But they had that cool element, man. And they was selling drugs and everything like that. And they wind up falling off. They wind up doing crack themselves. So I'm surprised, like a real rappers, man, through all the 90s, I think that was, if you ask me what subject matter was missing from the 90s, it was the drug dealer turned to crack cocaine. That was the subject matter that was missing because it happened so often. I'm surprised that, no rappers never talked about the drug dealer falling off doing crack cocaine. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that would have been a good song from even Tupac or, see, if certain people would have got around Tupac, they would have been able to make him do different kind of songs too. Like, just sitting around, talk about stuff, talk about issues, talk about different things, not just stuck on the present ignorance, you know what I'm saying? Talk about different things and that spark subject matter, and the subject matter is going to lead to a song, but that's a song that I never really heard nobody do. No superstar status song where somebody's talking about the drug dealer turned to a dope head, a crackhead, drug dealer going to a crackhead, turning to a crackhead. Man, it happened. And it happened to a lot of people in the 90s because the dope was good. We all know that. You know what I'm saying? The cocaine was not questionable. Now, you don't know what you're getting. Even if you're a drug dealer, you don't know what they're selling you. They might sell you fentanyl and you overdose just from handling the cocaine. That's why I wouldn't even. You might just overdose from handling fentanyl. Not doing it. Where they put it in the coke or the cocaine particularly. And I don't know if they can put it in crack. I don't know about that yet. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about that yet. But I think that will probably be the next level. They're going to start putting fentanyl in crack. Think about it. If they get, like I said, I didn't sell weight, but if they get like, I'm smart enough to still know that you could shave off a little bit of fentanyl and put it in a whole kilo of cocaine. Think about it and stir it up a little bit and then cook that as crack. You don't think it's going to be a little bit better? It's going to do something. I listen, I'm not trying to get people started on doing stuff. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Think about it though. If you got a kilo of cocaine and you could just put like enough fentanyl in that whole kilo to make sense, which you have to get into the science of it all and everything like that, how much it should be in one certain size of cocaine, you know, and you do the science on it and how it's spread out through the whole kilo, and you get the numbers on that, and that's how much you put in the kilo. I mean, but you could start out just putting a basic in there, like for some would say for just one user in one sitting, and stir that up in 1 kilo. You tell me that ain't gonna make a difference? It is gonna make a difference. They probably already doing it. They probably already cooking fentanyl inside big batches of crack cocaine. You didn't think about this, did you? But anyway, man, you don't know what you're getting these days. You don't know what you're getting. Back in the 90s, it was straight up cocaine and baking soda cooked up. That's it. That's all it was. I remember cutting up cocaine myself, cutting up my crack. For my birthday, I got some crack to sell for my 17th birthday. Instead of a gun, I wanted a gun. So you see what I can tell you, I lean more towards the assassin side because I rather had a gun than get crack cocaine. I would have got a gun for my 17th birthday, but he had a shotgun and I didn't want it. So instead, I got some cocaine because I was kind of getting my feet wet with selling a little crack. And that's the only reason I got it. That's the only reason I got it. But I wanted a gun. That's what I wanted. I wanted a gun, but instead I got crack. I got crack instead. So man, it's some people that just find this as entertainment, and that's why we just got to take care of our business. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, they have no purpose. They have no purpose, and that's why we got to take care of our business. That I didn't do cocaine that night with my dealers that I got my crack from. I didn't do no cocaine with them that night. You know what I'm saying? But I have been offered it by drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? And that was the difference. It's one thing for a fiend to offer you that, but it's a drug dealer. If he get a whiff that you want to do cocaine, he gonna throw you some sometimes and all of that. See, I could have been like that. Where if I would have did it that night, he would have probably started throwing me cocaine and everything. Throwing me a little here, throwing me a little there. And it would have been that kind of situation. But I was prepared for when somebody offered me cocaine and I didn't do it. So I can proudly say with all my handling, the little handling that I did of crack cocaine, I never tried cocaine once in my life. Pills, the only time I did some Percocets. I know what Percocets are like, but I had that from an operation. And I wound up selling that to some white boys in California. And a girl in Compton, from Compton, she was on the Greyhound. She was from Compton, and I sold her a couple perks. I sold her like 2, the last 2 I had left. I sold it off. I didn't really want it like that, and it might have been God, but I enjoyed it a lot. And that's probably why I didn't want to do it anymore. I started selling them off. Well, the main reason is I couldn't drink with the Percocets because my stomach started contracting, right? Like shaking. And it was weird to me. I never experienced nothing like that. And this is why I never liked chemical drugs in the first place, because chemicals is a whole different lane. When you talk about the dope game, the dope show, you know, chemicals is a whole, it's one thing to smoke a little herb, you know what I'm saying? But when you start talking about any kind of chemicals, man, you're talking about a whole different lane, period, you know? And you can't really trust, weed, you know, you don't gotta really, you know, people ain't gonna really lace your weed, cause it's a real drug dealer ain't gonna do that, cause he wasting product. Why lace your weed when he can get more money with both products? Unless, like in some cases with females that can happen, or you know, if it's a little more malicious in intent, it's a little more personal of a dealer, that might could happen, you know. But somebody you don't really know probably wouldn't do that, never usually, because it's two products for a drug dealer. He trying to get everything. He trying to get all that money. So why would he give you two products in one? That's my older, mature logic now. Like, most of these people ain't gonna lace no weed, because that's two products in one. So, and he could get paid off each one. So why you gonna do that? So, you know, but that's all I did was stay old school and smoke weed and drink. That's it. That's all I did. That's why I still got my head. That's why I'm still healthy. Healthy as an ox. That's another reason too. But Percocets, when I had an operation, a major operation, they gave me Percocets for the pain and morphine and Percocets. I was taking both in the hospital, so I know what morphine feel like. I know what Percocets feel like. But once my stomach started trembling, I couldn't mix alcohol with Percocets. It was too close. I didn't try to, but it was close to where I still had a little reaction. I'm like, nah, because you're supposed to split it up 12 hours a piece for Percocets. Which whenever you do first, 12 hours for the next, right? I like drinking more than taking Percocets. That's just the truth. And so I stopped taking Percocets because it didn't complement my drinking. So I wound up selling Percocets to these white boys in California. They was already high at the corner store, and once I made up my mind to be on the hustle, you know how you do. You know, you got your eye open, you looking around. And these dudes was in a 7-Eleven. I was in Tehachapi, California. That's the mountains of California. See, some people you ain't lived on the West Coast. You don't know nothing about Tehachapi, California. That's the mountains of California. So nice city, Tehachapi is nice. So I sold off the Percocets to this dude, these kids. They was in their 20s or something like that. White boys, you know, getting high. You could tell, you know, the type. So I went to the bathroom. I told him, I said, yo, I got them Percocets. He was like, oh, for real? He was that high. He's like, yeah, hey, yo, come in the bathroom or something like that. I was like, yo, let's go to the bathroom. So I showed him whatever, you know what I'm saying. He bought the Percocet. We took a ride, you know what I'm saying. They paid me a little bit on principle. They paid a little bit. I still had some left. I sold that to a girl in Compton, a black girl from Compton, a black woman from Compton. She took 2 of them right in front of me. I was like, I could never do that. I was like cautious for her. Like I sold her 2. She took them right there in front of me. Like both of them. Like she's from Compton, black woman from Compton, early 20s, something like that. I'm like, man, she took them right in front of me. I'm like, man, that's crazy. I could only take one at a time, and then obviously I didn't build up a tolerance for it. That's probably what it was. my tolerance was low. Only thing from Percocets was really, everything was colorful, lively, colorful. Like, that's all I remember. And just staying up all night watching TV. The nurse was like, "Oh, you still up?" I'm like, yeah. Taking them Percocets. And then the morphine, so I was taking like morphine like every 12 hours, something like that. So I would take Percocets, then morphine, Percocets, morphine. That's what I was doing the whole time I was in the hospital. So I would just stay up, watch TV. I can't remember what I watched. I was just sitting there glued to the tube, bro. Like, and I just remember all the colors of what I was watching on TV was like sticking out. It was really colorful. But I didn't hallucinate. I didn't have any trippy vibes or nothing. I was just chill. I was so chill, like on it, like just laid back, chill. I wasn't amped up. I was just chill, real chill. I liked how it made me feel. And I see why people get addicted to Percocets and stuff like that, man. I can see how, because they give you this certain vibe, this laid back vibe kind of. You know what I mean? And so I can say in the dope show I experienced Percocets. I can say I experienced Percocets in the dope show. You know what I'm saying? And that's the highest I went was Percocets. You know what I'm saying? I could have done cocaine, as a kid when I was 16, but I decided, which is the age you expect. You know what I'm saying? Hang around real ones and everything like that. That's about it. That's about the time when cocaine come into play. And that's not talked about a lot. How most black young thugs was doing cocaine. Because, I think it was because a lot of people that they looked up to did cocaine. A lot of the toughest dudes out there did it. They might have not paraded it around everything, but they did it. That was basically the toughest guys who was doing that. You could say that. At least on the East Coast. Now on the West Coast, they was doing Angel Dust and all of that. That was more of the West Coast for us. We didn't get no. I think Love Boat. I heard about Love Boat, which is a bombing fluid, weed smoke soaked in bomb. I think it's the same thing as PCP, Angel Dust or whatever. But I heard about Love Boat here and there, but nobody was. That's like more I would think Midwest on out west. In the South. Judy flies, which I call primos, lacing the weed with cocaine. That's kind of what happened with the weed. And to be truthful to you, especially like even though I say people didn't lace the weed, somebody probably put a little bit of cocaine. If you was a real bona fide weed smoker like I was, somebody put a little bit of cocaine in your weed. At least once. If you don't think so, you're naive. Somebody at least put like a little corner of cocaine, especially if you was a consistent weed smoker, and you were around certain type of drug dealers, them type that try stuff out on people. If you back in the 90s, those kind of drug dealers was out there that would just let me try this out on them. You know what I mean? They ain't trying to hurt you, but let's just try this out. So if you bought weed. If you was a consistent weed smoker, you had to have smoked weed with somebody that laced it. You had to. Not real hard. They might have didn't go real hard because it was you. But somebody got you a couple times, man. Somebody got you a couple times. You just didn't know no better. You just thought you was high. Because they barely put a little bit. They might have put a little corn in there, They ain't hit it hard. They ain't smoke it out. They ain't frost the blunt, because you would know. Your mouth be numb. You're going to be like, that's what you probably would notice if it was a lot of cocaine in it. Mouth numb, just from the residue of the weed and the cocaine together. That resin going to get in your mouth. It's going to make it numb. But I think they might have put a little bit in there every once. You know what I'm saying? If I'm just being real, like for me when I was a young kid out there smoking weed, and ain't no way in the world I can tell you I can't tell you for sure that nobody put no cocaine in my weed. Come on, man. Somebody probably did. And you probably ain't notice it because you just thought you was extra high. That was the purpose. It probably was bad Babbage weed. We call BAP. Babbage or BAP. So it might have been some BAP, some bad weed or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And they put a little bit of coke in there and you thought, oh, I'm just high. I'm high. It probably was a little coke in there. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody done got a couple times. If you really smoke a lot of weed, at least a couple times somebody got you. You know what I'm saying? But then you got, if you really was a strong weed smoker, then you really got those real good weed dealers, and then that's how you stayed out the way from it. That's why you didn't really, if you really smoked a lot of weed, it was a double-edged sword. Somebody got you a couple times, but what kept you out the way from people keep getting you with the weed, lacing weed, was that you had a consistent dealer that you bought your weed from, you know, and that's what helped. That's what kept you out the way. Me, I had a consistent dealer, like, you know. Yeah, I ain't try to switch up. I ain't try to make it, you know what I'm saying, try different stuff, you know. I just had a consistent dealer, a family, a whole family sold weed. My homie, his mom, his sister, the whole house. You know, they all sold weed, you know what I'm saying? You know, so, you know, with that being said, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have to worry. They had fat sacks, and I just go up the block. It was right up the street. It was right across the street from where I stayed, right up the block, up the street. Perfect, man. And then on the weekend, I would come there if I was like, for example, my older cousin, her husband, he knew we smoked weed. I was a little dude. I was like 16, but I took him to the spot one time and got him some weed and everything. She liked it and everything. They was probably impressed, you know. Cause that was Brooklyn weed. That was weed from here in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure from down south, down there and down south, and the sats were fat. It was a Brooklyn family, New York family. You know what I mean? That's how that was my main dealer, you know what I'm saying? New York people, fat sacks. It was, that's all I smoked. And then I was cool with them and cool with the family, so it was all love, you know. It wasn't nothing funny going on. I definitely could trust that wasn't nothing in the weed. The weed was straight fresh weed, you know. But I took my cousin, her husband, to get some weed from over there, man, and you know, I just take people there, you know. You know, I had a white friend I took there. He used to go there on his own. It just became the spot. It just like, you know, but I think during my weed days, what kept me afloat is I used to do music, so I just kind of put myself into the music a little bit. And I think that's kind of how it evened my mind out while doing it. You know what I'm saying? I smoke weed, listen to music, and write music and stuff. Yeah. But if I could go back in time, I wouldn't have never probably smoked weed because I would have been more focused. As a smart person, how smart I am, I would have been more focused on school and things like that. Yeah, I just yeah, I wouldn't smoke weed. No, I would have just put my mind in books and just got money, got bread, got out the way. Cause right now, that's the main important thing is to get out the way. You know what I'm saying? Cause this is about to pop off, bro. And what we call the hood is gonna be a war zone. It's gonna be nothing but a war zone, basically. It's gonna be nothing but a war zone. So if you got bread, you got money, now is the time to get out the way. Go somewhere and hide. For real. Like, cause the only reason I'm around these parts, man, is cause I'm on the objective. You know what I'm saying? I got something I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Cause people act like they want beef with me for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And then if it is whatever it is, it's not good enough of a reason because you couldn't prove it to me. You couldn't prove it to nobody. And so while you might think it's easier for me to die, it's God is not looking at it that way. God is looking at it is that He want to get rid of these people running around this country playing games with people. God want to get rid of them, and that's it. Once we come to understand what God's objective is, and this is why all this stuff is happening to these Americans. You know what I'm saying? Just think about, I mean, I ain't gonna say think about me like this, but if you from the streets or something, just remember, man, I was just that little kid that used to sell crack and smoke weed and jumping back in cars with my homies. You know what I'm saying? Them offering me cocaine, being around dealers, shooting guns. You know what I'm saying? I used to shoot guns when I was like 14, 15. I started shooting guns. You know what I'm saying? So, just keep that in mind, man. That's who you're listening to. You know what I'm saying? I like I said before, I'm not a religious nut. I'm a spiritual person, and that's how I move as a spiritual person. But see, if you put it together, you put the whole story together instead of listening to suckers. Okay, now this is a little dude used to smoke weed all the time, be cool, laid back, sell little drugs, around drug dealers that do cocaine. He shot guns. You know what I'm saying? He used to shoot guns as a kid. I'm from the South. You're gonna find somebody to shoot guns, especially back in the 90s or even earlier. There's always gonna be somebody shooting guns. That you're gonna find somebody that you can befriend that shoot guns. For me, it was this little white dude, Italian and German. He was Italian and German, right? His dad was German, right? And his mom was Italian. His dad was so German. Now I ain't gonna say so German because this don't define German, but his dad was racist. He was a racist German. Yeah. I was around, and when he get drunk, he would say nigga, stuff like that. And I would almost have to say, I said something to my friend, yo, your dad, bro. Like, yo, man, he tripping. I used to turn up a little bit as a kid. I was turning up a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But then his daughter wind up having a kid by a black guy, and I think that's what changed his heart. Once he seen a part of him in black people, you know what I'm saying? That's what can change a good person that's a person that really ain't racist. They just been led the wrong way. When they kids have children by somebody that's black, you know what I'm saying? How can you still be racist when that's a part of you? That child is a part of you. You can see a part of you in that child. Ain't no way you can stay racist. So he started changing as his daughter started had a kid, and it was about a black dude, right? And so that's how he changed over the years. But before that, man, before she really had a kid, I can remember, man, being in his house with this Italian and German dude, and his dad just be sitting around listening to the radio. He'd be drunk listening to the radio, talking about niggas, this and that, not. He'd be drunk like that, sitting at the table by himself, sitting there by the table. You know, them type of dudes sit at the same table, same spot at the table, got the radio in the same spot. He one of them dudes. That's what kind of dude he was. So he would get drunk sometimes. And I remember hearing him say it and me responding. I can remember me responding like, yo, man, your dad talking about nigga and this. I was around white people like that. Kind of like almost how a white boy would be around black people, he'll hear the word cracker or something like that. You know what I'm saying? I was around a white boy, his dad was racist. You know, his family was so racist, I heard nigga and I heard wetback. I didn't even know what a wetback was till I got around them. Which is that's for Mexicans and stuff like that. I didn't even hear that word till I was around them. I didn't know what a wetback was. I started hanging around him. His dad was a German. I ain't saying he was a Nazi, but he was German and racist, and he served in the military. But he didn't do a tour, you know. He went across seas and everything like that. But he went through the military, and I was around a German man that was in the military. But in his later years, He always had respect for me. You know, I know why, because I was a well-mannered child. You know what I'm saying? I never caused any problems, so he couldn't hate me. He couldn't. I probably was one of the first people that started probably to change his mind, because he couldn't resist me, because I was just not a. I was a good-mannered child. I was a well-mannered child. He couldn't find no ignorance in me. You know what I'm saying? So I think I also had an effect on that man. You know what I'm saying? But me and his son, because he went to the military, he had a whole bunch of guns, right? So me and his son would go in the back and shoot the guns when we could, you know. But yeah, I didn't even know what the word wetback was until I was around my friend. He the one, not his dad, his friend. My friend is the one that said it, like, because they had Mexican people move next door, and he was like, yeah, them old wetbacks next door. So I'm just listening. I didn't even know what that word meant. I heard it from white people, racist white people, you know. But I was one of them kids that got respect from racist white people. I did. But I was so good of a kid, and my grandmother was so good that family accepted my family, because we were good people. We were good black people. She brought them in and fed my friend, my white friend, that was racist a little bit. His dad was racist. He used to come over my house and play video games and everything, shoot guns, smoke weed. He the one got me into smoking weed, man. Like, I was smoking weed, but he didn't have no real world views. It was just like, to be honest with you, man, in North Carolina, man, it's a lot of people that just grow up. Racism is almost heritage. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree. It's just a worldview that many white people just gonna have in the South. You know what I'm saying? They just gonna have these certain worldviews that black people should be a certain place, and they should be a certain, and all these other people should be a certain place. That's the main thing. That's the main thing they be harping on, is just how this is their country, and we should be on top, and they should be, all these other people should be. But you can kind of understand to a certain degree why they feel this is their country, because they made the country what it is. We just helped. We didn't make it what it is. We didn't blueprint this country. We didn't blueprint this country. They blueprinted the country. They made it what it is, right? And we just was helpers. That's all we was. We were just helpers. We didn't build it. We were not the architects of this country. So I do sympathize with them being the architects of this country, and then, you know, everybody comes in and they don't act like they know that. Like, these white people built this country. These white people was the ones that made the buildings in New York. Black people didn't sit down and map out all the train stations and all the boulevards and all the streets and everything. The white people did that. They literally mapped out the whole grid of New York City. You gotta respect that. Whether you like them or not, whatever you feel, you gotta respect that everything that these people, that America is, the white man is the one that blueprinted it out. He blueprinted America. He gridded it out. And you can't take nothing from that. You can't say black people sat down and wrote out all these different streets in New York and Manhattan. The white man did it. You got to give respect where respect is due. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you join his cause, but I'm not going to be a liar because I don't like you. I don't become a liar because me and you ain't on the same side. See, people like me, that's how we can elevate, you know, because I'm going to keep everything actual and factual. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be biased because I don't like you and start telling lies and everything like that. And in some way, I'm going to still figure out my way. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? I mean, even in any situation, the highest level of information and knowledge is from your enemies, because your enemies is not going to be biased. Your enemies is going to tell you the truth about yourself, what your friends ain't telling you. Your friends going to tell you all the information to beef up who you already are and who they already are. They're going to tell you all the stuff you want to hear. Your enemies are going to give you information about yourself that your friends ain't gonna give you. They ain't gonna tell you what your enemies gonna tell you. So the highest levels of knowledge and information is that from your enemies. They gonna tell you what you don't want to hear. They gonna tell you what you need to hear. You know what I mean? So if you just are a person that's just a student of your friends and masters, you have not elevated to the highest levels of information and knowledge, which is to receive information and knowledge from your enemies. If you don't receive it from your enemies, I'm telling you, you're missing all the information and knowledge about yourself. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's been lies on me. So, that ain't what I'm talking about. I ain't referring to them. But for me, as far as they go, as Americans, you need to listen to me as your enemy. You marry children. You see what I'm saying? You marry children in America, and if you were a student of information and knowledge, you will go to the highest level of receiving information and knowledge from your enemies. Now you can change. But if you don't, and you just listen to all your friends, they're going to tell you, these police going to tell you, we love the kids. Okay. But at the same time, you marry children. That's what your enemy's talking about. Boom. That's it out. Your enemy's talking about you marrying children. But you ain't listening, right? See? You ain't elevated to the highest levels of knowledge and information. My only thing is this. If you tell something, it got to be the truth. And the full truth. Nothing but the truth. Not nigga stuff. When you coming in halfway saying something and it ain't, who this person is and everything like, you know what I'm saying? That's nigga stuff. We ain't talking about that. We talking about, real receipts and present day receipts, bringing it all together. Because I can bring all together this child marriage from the past to the present day in time where y'all passed new child marriage laws while Donald Trump was the president. Okay? You passed new child marriage laws. That's what the nail in the coffin was. Because you could have said, oh, well, this is the past. That's how we used to be. We just got the laws in place. But ain't nobody taking advantage of that. You can't say that. You just passed new child marriage laws just 7 years ago. Less than 7 years ago. That's less than a decade ago. Less than a decade ago, you just passed new child marriage laws. So how you going to tell me it ain't the way Americans think right now? It is the way they think right now. Less than 10 years ago, they made new child marriage laws. What else you need to hear? See, you don't listen to your enemies. You see, when your enemy is high quality like I am, I'm going to tell you about yourself. I'm going to tell you about yourself. Like these black folks out here killing each other, killing their own children. Out here killing their own children out here, talking about a pedophile. Buddy, listen, man. You killing your own children. You killing your own family, your own black people. I mean, who does that? Who does that and talk about they love black people? Come on. But you ain't trying to hear it. So you only listen to your friends. That's why you don't change. See, if you only listen to your friends, you ain't going to change. Better to put it like this. If you only listen to your friends, you ain't going to become the best. Nope. Because your enemies is going to be critical. They're going to tell you the whole truth about yourself. And ain't no way in the world you gonna come out here talking about no pedophile as black people, and y'all got a pedophile in all the trees of your family. Most of these black families got a pedophile in it. How we know? Because black women complain about being molested when they was children. All of them do. All of them. Most of the women I've dated, most of the black women I've dated have complained about the same thing. Put two and two together. Put two and two together. You're going to say, well, most of these black people be sexualizing their children, which means you can't even stand up on nobody like me. No. You can't stand up on me. You can't stand up on me. No, you can't until you get yourself together. Until you start putting up boundaries and stop letting your children pack in the same room. See, that's what it gets started. As black ghetto families, we pack our children in the same room and they be sexualizing each other. That's number one. Number two, you go put them over their grandmother's house where the grandmother is short sight. She can't tell what's going on. You gonna put them at your mama's house. Your mama kind of old, spoil the kids. They can do no wrong in her sight. And then some other kids, some other people come in. Boom, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. The worst thing you can do is put your kids over at their grandmother's house. You know why? Cause they can do whatever they want to do. We literally, as kids, I had the whole house to myself. You might as well say that. I'm at my grandmother's house. We got the whole house to ourselves. Basically, nobody's even there. It wasn't no man there to guard the children, to make us think a certain way. It wasn't no man there. It's just a woman, an older woman. She gonna let us do whatever we want to do. And you're gonna have all that time to yourself. You're gonna be left to yourself. What, you think kids ain't gonna do nothing? Man, you tripping. That's how it all gets started, with the whole mentality. Leaving children to themselves. That's how it happens. And that's what black people gonna do, because we cutting and pasting. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got enough money, so your parents got you over here, got you over there. You know what I'm saying? While they struggling a little bit, they want you to live a little better, so that's why they let you live over there. They ain't never tell you that. But they want you, but because your grandma got money, you know what I'm saying? They want you to go over there and experience a little bit of life over there, because they really struggling over here. So that's why they didn't mind you being over there in the summertime and all them different times and everything, because they trying to get you to experience a better life. And your grandmother ain't got nothing to do with her money. She want to spend it on you. She's retired. She ain't got nothing to do with her money. So you can't say the child is using the grandmother. She don't want to be used, but she wants to be. She wants to see her money go into the world. Into a child, into life. A child is life. So she want to see her child. She want to see her money go into life. And how much more fitting if you could put it into your grandchild, see them grow up and enjoy life. So that's how there was a balance in my life. My mom stayed in the hood. I stayed in North Charlotte. We started out in North Charlotte. For people that know me from West Charlotte, we started out in North Charlotte. Everybody know about North Charlotte. North Charlotte and West Charlotte is the worst parts of Charlotte, hands down. East side and South side ain't even comparable to North side and West side. We started out in the North side. Okay? I remember coming down the stairs as a kid and hearing gunshots and running back upstairs because somebody was shooting in front of our apartment. I could have got killed right then. I could have got killed as a kid because the dude, our next door neighbor, got shot right out there. And I was by myself going downstairs to play, and I heard it was so distinguished. Even though I was a kid, I knew what it was. I knew there was gunshots. I had no doubts about it. And then found out the next door neighbor was shot directly next to us. As soon as you open our door, we could see his door. That's how close he was. Like 15 feet away from my door. That's how close he was. Literally. You know what I mean? And I was coming downstairs to just play around outside. If I would have came down there like 15 minutes later, I could have been doing random stuff that kids do and could have been killed. So we started out in North Charlotte. But then during North Charlotte, I was still going to my grandmother's house, which was an oasis from over there, but I didn't dislike it. I had a friend from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Old school Chicago, because this was the 80s. You know what I'm saying? So his family was old school Chicago. You know what I'm saying? He in his 40s right now, my friend. You know what I'm saying? I used to see his brother. His brother used to do hair, used to cut hair and everything. Their whole family from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? The sister, she do music to this day. She do music, but she had a crush on me when I was a kid, right? So, like, that was my little friend over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I found her on Facebook too. I couldn't believe it, man. I reached out to her. I ain't dropped the ball. You know what I'm saying? I reached out to her, man, but she ain't reach out to me. So, you know, but me and her used to be cool on each other, sweet on each other, as people say. You know what I'm saying? She always be smiling at me and I'm smiling at her. But see, me and her brother was so close. I think that's why I didn't really see her like too much of as a female, because me and her brother was so close. You know what I mean? And we used to play football every day. Me and my friend Gerard, man. You know what I'm saying? His family from old school Chicago. So that's a funny story that even though I'm born and raised in Charlotte, I had a friend from Chicago. So I wasn't around. My main childhood friend that was black was from Chicago. And being that they was from the hood, they probably was from South Side. You know, it's just common sense. They, you know, probably most likely. but they definitely was from Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Born, he came down. I think he came down there as a kid. I think he was born up there. But their whole family was from Chicago. Me and him used to play football with the kids in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I grew up, and so I enjoyed pretty much being over there because of my friend Gerard from Chicago. You know, us playing football and everything. That's what we put our mind at. We ain't do nothing else. His mom was good with raising, and my mom was good with raising. So we didn't. Me and him never went and walked off and went other places. You know, all we were good kids that just played football. That's it. Listen to music and play football. That's all we wanted to do. He come over my house, I come over his house. He'll knock on the door. Let's go play some football, man. Okay, all right. Put on my play clothes, go play football. So that's what that's how I was in North Charlotte, you know what I'm saying, basically, for me. And then we moved to West Charlotte, you know what I'm saying, and then that's when I started smoking, you know what I'm saying, going from there, smoking weed, that's all, at the beginning. Just doing what kids do. You know, in the 90s, it was, if you had the right friends, you could find people that just smoke weed and play games, video games, and kind of stayed out the way. And weed was that big of a lifestyle and lane that you could just be a weed head and just chill and just enjoy life being a weed head. And many kids did, you know, and until you got around the homies, you know, and somebody that you grew up with started selling drugs. That's how it happened naturally. Naturally, how people start selling drugs is somebody in the crew starts selling drugs. That's how it happened. With me, it was my friend two doors down. Me and him used to play video games, trade video games, everything, smoke little Black and Milds, everything, but nothing further than that. And then like a couple years went by and he started selling crack. And I don't even know how we got on the conversation. To this day, I still don't know. I think I might have started out selling a little weed because I used to sell a little weed at school to the white girls. I had white girls I sold weed to. Yeah, you know, so I used to sell nothing but back in the nickel bags because for a weed head, I could see exactly a blunt. If I, you know, ain't no, well, this is a dime and nah. Okay, here's a nickel. You know, this is a blunt. You know, that was my teenage philosophy as a weed smoker. Okay, this is a nickel, right? Ain't no way if I can't get a blunt out of this, I don't want it. And so a nickel, it could look easy. I'm gonna sell buds. I ain't gonna sell. Oh well, did I break it up? I don't know. I think I might have did. I might have did and I might have did. I think I kind of did a combination because I knew how people think. You know, back in North Carolina, we call it shake. We don't want no shake because that's when people can probably put something in it. So people was more conscious of that. Even though it was just a paranoia that we had, you know, most people started just buying bud, straight bud, no shake, you know, and no shake in the bag because that's when people can put little stuff in it. You straight bud, you can't put nothing on top of no bud. You know, it's self-explanatory. But anyway, I used to sell nickel bags in high school. And I'll lay them out on the table before the class started. White girls would buy my nicks. Like, hey, Donnell, walking through school, smelling the sack in front of me. Like, so I can say I got white girls high. That's a normal story for a weed smoker, especially in the 90s, you know. I can say I got white girls high and all that. But you know, I don't know how. I'm be honest with you. I don't remember how I started selling crack. I don't remember the day. But it probably was smoking weed, hanging out with my friend, and he probably brought it up, and I was open to it, maybe because I already sold a little crack. I mean weed. Y'all selling weed, so I might have told him that I was. And that it might have went from there. I think that probably is what happened. I probably told him I was selling weed. And then he told me about crack. And so I don't have any bad stories about it because I didn't sell enough of it to get arrested. At least I didn't get caught. The bad thing about when I sold crack was what stopped me from selling crack was my next door neighbors. You know, that kind of stuff. I sold him some crack. He stepped on the block. He rolled up to the block because how this block was made in North Carolina, where the customers came, they rolled up next door to where we was posted up on the block. Next door was a dirt parking lot, right? And so the sales would come. The sales would come over there and park at the parking lot, and you wouldn't even know what they was doing. So we would sit in front of the block, and directly in front of us would be a dirt parking lot, like the South. That's some South stuff right there. It was just a grass parking lot, and people would just come over there and park, and then you walk over there. So my little homie put me up on the block. He was like, "Yeah, you can come. You can sell crack right here," because I was mobile with mine. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a crew. I didn't have people that really was with me, so I was just mobile. So I was telling people what I was trying to do. Yeah, man, I'm trying to sell some crack. He's like, "Oh, okay. You can post up right here." Like they was already on. This was kids. We were kids. We were running the blocks. Not even like 20-year-old, 30-year-old kids. We were teenagers, man. We was on the streets. So I'm like, I remember it was broad daylight, and I was like, "Yeah, man, you know, I'm trying to sell some crack right now, you know." He was like, "Oh, you can post up right here. You could sell it right here." Man, I didn't even know they was like that. Cause that kid right there, me and him, he was cool. His sister used to like me and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I was always cool with that family because of that. For her liking me, and he used to smoke weed, so I was cool with them because of that. It was just always this love vibe between me and him and his sister. So then one day I just walked past him. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm in the hood." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to sell some crack, man." You know, he was like, you could sell right here." I was like, "Okay." So I posted up. He was like, "That's a sale right there. Go across the street. Get in the car right there. That's a sale." I was like, "All right." So I crossed the street by myself with my own crack, right? So I got in the car. I got in the back seat. They told me to get in the back. I got in the back. Man, lo and behold, I'm like, this is my next door neighbor down the block. I'm like, "Oh, what's up, man?" Like that. So because it was him, I let him hold all my rocks and see which one he wanted. He picked whatever the rock he wanted. He paid me. I got back up off the block. So once I left that weekend, right? Because remind you, I'm only like 15, 16 years old, right? My dad got custody, like weekend custody. So, but I used to just go to my grandmother's house so I can chill. You know what I'm saying? I could chill better there, smoke weed, you know, chill. So I like going to my grandmother's house instead of going to his house. So he ain't had no problem with it. He'd come through, see me and everything, spend time with me, but I would chill over there, you know. So I went to my grandmother's house because it was the weekend. So that must have been like a Friday, which makes sense. And when I came back, my room was ramshacked, and my mom was asking me, "Do you do cocaine?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't do no cocaine." So but remind you, I'm selling it, right? So I'm like a little kid like that when your mom's kind of finding out. So come to find out, this dude liked my mom, low key. You know what I'm saying? Low key like that. You know what I mean? Nobody could really read between the lines, but we kind of knew that kind of situation. But the partners on the outside didn't really know that he was attracted to her. Like my stepdad didn't really know, and the dude who I sold crack to, his wife didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And so he thought he was getting points with my mom by going and telling her that I'm selling crack. That's how it happened. That's why she ramshacked my room, because he went and told her, yeah, he was up there selling drugs, selling crack. He told my mom. And that's what slowed me down in the streets. Once he told my mom, I think things changed. She kind of got a hunch that I was kind of getting out there, you know, and that threw my whole mojo off, man. That it threw my whole mojo off. I was already with somebody that I had love for. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude was cool. I was making a sale very easy. You know what I'm saying? It was no problem. It was a whole bunch of kids, so we was deep enough where nobody wasn't gonna try us. It was too many kids, and it was at least about 5 kids. And I just stayed, low key like me. I just posted up and just waited. You know what I'm saying? He went and told my mom that I'm selling crack. My mom's female friend, who stayed really down like a couple houses from the same guy, she knew I was selling crack too. But she might have said something to my mom. I don't know. But I remember one day I had some crack. This is another day. And I was posted up in front of a grocery store. I'm in the corner store. I was posted up in front of the corner store during school hours. So this lady pulled up and, she was like, I know what you're doing out here. That's how she was talking. I think she was a Christian too. I think she was. She was like, I know what you're doing out here. That's how she said it. And I ain't say nothing about it. I ain't think nothing bad about it. You know what I'm saying? But it was people coming along like that with me. And I guess because I was a bright-faced kid. I was a nice, bright kid. They didn't want to see it happen. But she told me that one day. She was like, yeah, because it was school hours. I was out selling crack. I was trying to sell crack. I didn't make any sale that day. But I was trying to sell crack. And I was out in front of the grocery store, the corner store. So I put the crack around the alley in the back, in those the holes in the brick walls, and I just stuffed it in there. And I would I planned to make a sale by going back around to the alley and make a sale like that. But I didn't have it on me. I was smart enough not to keep it on me. With crack, I always felt antsy with it on me. You know what I mean? I felt way more dirty than when weed is one thing, but when I got crack on, I feel dirty. You know what I'm saying? So, I think it's because it's the energy, man. So I wasn't stupid enough to be sitting there with the crack on me. I had it stashed, and then I posted up in the front of the store. But she told me that. She was like, yeah, I know what you're doing out here. Because I was the only person out there. I was just staring into space, just, how you by yourself. Because I had a homegirl from school. We skipped school, so I'm having sex with this girl. But I left her at my mom's house to go try to make a sale to get some weed. So I left her at my mom's house. She in my hood, but she at my mom's house, and I'm on the block trying to get a sale so me and her can get some weed, some, festivities, get some alcohol, whatever. And that's how my mom's friend saw me on the block, because I got a girl at the house and I'm trying to make a sale so we can get some weed. But I couldn't keep her there too long. That's another reason I ain't get no sale, because I ain't want to stay there too long with her at the house, But yeah, those were times. That's how it was kind of happening for me. It was just like these little things that was happening to kind of stop me from going further out there. These people coming along the way, those two people, you know what I'm saying? But I never got caught selling crack. I never got caught with possession of cocaine. I never got caught. Even the felonies I did, I never got caught doing them. I broke in a house, stole guns, and I never got caught. I had a gun in my possession. It was stolen. I didn't get caught with the gun. But the reason why is because my cousin stole my gun. He stole it, man. How you gonna steal a gun from a kid just starting out, man? It was just such a crummy move, man. He was just such a crummy person, bro. He really was. It's a little young dude starting out in the streets and everything, and I just got me a gun, and you gonna steal my gun, man? Come on. You an old dude done been to the military. This dude done been to the military. You know what I mean? Come on. This dude a little teenager, he getting out there shooting a gun. See how he knew I had it? Because we was shooting it in the backyard. Pow, pow, pow. My grandma had this big oak tree, this big, wide, huge oak tree, and she wasn't home. So I start shooting in the backyard. He was like, hey, man, y'all can't be shooting that gun. He probably thought we was wild. Like, these little dudes got a good. Like, yeah, I don't know. I just thought he was cooler than that. You know what I'm saying? I thought, I wasn't that conscious of it, I guess, of the neighborhood. I don't know. Maybe we was high. Maybe we probably was. We probably was high. But once he knew I had the gun, I had to go to church, right? I was still going to church as a kid, but I wasn't a Christian. I received Jesus Christ, but I just almost instantaneously, I was with Christ for a little bit. And I remember at one point when I first gave my life to God, I would see like a cross, and when I closed my eyes or somewhere, I would see like a cross sometimes. No, I'm serious. Like I really would see something like that, and it was like a light cross like that. I started sleeping with the Bible under my pillow. That's how close I was to God. I was only like 12 years old, something like that. And at that time, I had started sleeping with the Bible under my pillow. I remember doing that. I remember putting the Bible under my pillow when I was like 12. And then 2 years later, I started smoking weed and stuff. And I think it was smoking that got me. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely remember putting the Bible under my pillow. Yeah, sleeping on it for what I could, how I could, and I used to keep it under my pillow. Yep. Couldn't really read it that good and didn't understand where to go, but in reading it, but I kept it under my Bible, my pillow. But I never really got into the lifestyle until about 6 years later. 6 years later, then I became a real Christian. But those 6 years was rocky, real bad. I got felonies. I didn't get caught. I got one. I got caught, but they reduced it down to a misdemeanor. And I did other felonies. I broke in a house, stole guns, had a gun. And when I went to church, I was just going through the motions because I was working too. So I was working a job. Sometimes I didn't go to church. My dad would go to church, and I would go to work because I got my first job when I was 15 years old. I got my first job when I was 15. So I started working when I was like 15, and so I would go to work, and I would not go to church. My dad didn't make me go to church. I would go to work. And I think that's kind of what got me kind of out there too, a little bit away from Christianity. I started working, and so that's my story. I started out working at 15 years old before I could legally work. I had to get a work permit, and I started working, making money, smoking weed and stuff like that. And but one Sunday I went to school, I went to church, and I left the gun in my duffel bag. I had a perfect old school 90s duffel bag with the zippers on each side. We got pockets on each side. A bona fide 90s duffel bag, right? Before I even knew what a duffel bag was, I had one. Because to put my clothes in when I go to my grandmother's house, that's why she got me a nice bag to do that. And so I put my gun wrapped in my jeans. I put it in my bag. I came home from church, and my gun was gone. That's how it happened that Sunday. He was a crummy dude. He might have thought he was doing me a favor. He might have thought he was keeping me out of trouble, but it was just such a crummy move, man, for him to do that. He went and sold it for crack. That's what he did. He stole my jacket. He stole my video games. If anybody ripped me off a lot when I was a kid, if anybody ripped me off when I was a kid, he was the guy that ripped me off when I was a kid, bro. Like, he was almost hating on me, bro. He stole my video game, my Nintendo. He stole my Nintendo. He stole my Hoya jacket. I had a Georgetown Hoya jacket, bro. It was official. It was official, bro. I was fresh as a kid. He would just steal from me so much. You know what I mean? And then he stole a gun from me. I think from that time, once he stole a gun, That was it. Between me and him, I wind up selling him some crack before. I sold him some crack before, a couple times. Yeah, I sold him some crack a couple times. You know what I'm saying? That's one family member that knows that I did sell a little crack a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cause he hanged right down the street from. You remember back in the '90s they had them big crack houses. A house was a dope house. We call it a dope house. And he was just hanging out at this main dope house, and I started selling crack. So I would meet him there. I think he called and asked me did I have some. I was like, yeah. I think I made like 2 sales with him, and cause I looked so young. And I was with a white boy. I took him down there with me to do the sale the second time, I think. Yeah. And with the second sale. And we never talked about that. Him going with me on the sale to do a sale, crack sale. And how the black dude, yeah, but he went with me to do a crack sale. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like but the dude that bought it, he was just kind of, it was almost like he didn't want to almost give me my crack back because I was so young. I felt this energy like I think because my cousin was with him, that's the only reason he kind of gave it. I feel that way a little bit. Because he was just kind of how he was looking at it and just looking and everything like that. But my cousin was like, yeah, just try that crack, man, right there. It's good. It'll grow on you, man. It's good stuff, man. Trust me, man. It's kind of good. You got to feel it out. The way he was talking like that. So I made a sale there. You know what I'm saying? I can remember as a kid having crack on my person while my dad taking me to the barbershop. My dad didn't even know I got crack on me, and I'm going to the barbershop. He's still getting my haircuts. So. But that's my little bit of little stuff that went on, But ultimately, I panned out to be a soldier. I took everything that I learned. I took everything that I consist of to have heart. I took all of that and became a soldier for Christ. That's what happened. With my sexuality, most people give me a pass because I got turned out when I was like 9 or 10 years old from an older cousin. I got sexualized by an older cousin that was a teenager, a boy, right? And we did everything when I was like 9 or 10. I got penetrated. He put Vaseline on his penis, penetrated me from the back, doggy style, everything. I was like doggy style at like 9 or 10 years old. And he put Vaseline on his penis, went up in me. And I know it changed me because I blacked out. I don't remember what happened. All I remember is he told me to bend over and get in position and wait for him to come into the room. And so that's what I did. I was only like 9 or 10 years old. So for me, I get a pass because of that. When I tell people that's how it happened for me, that's how I got turned out, But I experimented a little bit, but I ultimately like women. I liked women and everything like that. And but that's my first experience sexually was my cousin. Like I was like 9 or 10 years old. So, but did I look at him as a pedophile? No, because he was a kid himself. But I have to tell the story of how my sexuality. I mean, it's a good place to show you why I had my sexuality was the way it was with these guys, because of that interaction with me and my cousin. And it turns you out. You start wanting to experiment in that area, that same area. And luckily, because of my eyes, my brown eyes, girls like me so much because of my brown eyes and everything like that. And so I always had the female attraction. So that's kind of what evened me out, was that girls was always attracted to me. You know what I'm saying? Because of my eyes, the brown eyes. That's what got them. You know what I'm saying? So I never had a problem with females at all. You know, I always had females attracted to me. So I never had that problem. You know, so that's kind of what kind of pushed me past going into being with guys. I never had the psychology of that. You know what I'm saying? I experimented with my cousin, and me and him became normal cousins. Like, you know, I didn't hold that against him. We grew up, and it was just our little secret, and it was not something. I mean, to the point where I went to his dad. Me and his dad would chill on our own in his Cadillac. His dad had a Cadillac, because in that family, they was a Cadillac family. His dad had Cadillacs. You know what I'm saying? And so I was sitting in his Cadillac one day, you know what I'm saying, when I first became a Christian, and I could have easily told him what his son did and this stuff, but it didn't. To me, I felt like it was just one of our little secrets. Like, it wasn't nothing I was supposed to expose or tell nobody. Or he grew out of it, I grew out of it. He wasn't gay, I wasn't gay. We started rapping, he started rapping, you know, he started selling drugs and different stuff like that. So I think maybe if he had stayed gay, I might have would have said something about it, because it would have been a trigger to what happened. And I would have just talked about it because he's still gay, you know. But once he showed signs of being normal, my comprehension was that was just our little secret. You know what I'm saying? It didn't affect him or me. He wasn't gay, I wasn't gay, so I didn't treat him any differently. He didn't treat me any differently. It just became our little secret, and that's it. You know, to this day, the only reason I would say something now is because it's important, because I'm forced to show what my sexuality is. You know what I'm saying? Because of all this foolishness that these people did, so I'm forced to show you what it really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, far as pedophilia, I had an older woman in my family that sexualized me when I was like 16. But see, I never told nobody about that either. So I actually got sexualized when I was like 16 by an older woman in my family. I could have easily outed her, and it would have been a problem. It would have been a problem. But especially if I told my aunts and stuff like that. If I told my aunts that she did that to me, like, it would have been a problem, you know. But I didn't say anything to nobody. You know what I'm saying? She did what she did, you know. And I don't respect people that's a grown. If you're a child, I think it can happen because kids experiment. But if you're a grown woman, I don't respect you because you didn't set boundaries that most adults set between them and children. That's why. Once you grow up, there's like certain boundaries you put between you and kids. That's what a normal human being gonna do. And if you don't do that, I mean, what does that say? I mean, how can you not be like that? Because everybody's gonna kind of pull you in that direction when you get older to think like this. So if you don't do that, what does that say about you? You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I was like 16. I wouldn't have been doing nothing to no 16-year-old girl if I was a man, as a man. But she did. She did something to me when I was like 16. But see, it kind of happens with these distant people. She wasn't that close to me, you know, but she wasn't that close to really know me. So maybe she felt because she was unfamiliar with me that me and her could be, she seen me a sexual way instead of like one of her little cousins or something. She seen me more as a guy. Because I was 16, I already was smoking weed. I was already shooting guns. I don't know if I was selling crack yet, but I was already on the road to being turned out. So I might have already looked turned out. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, but she shouldn't have, being an older woman, you know, see, Some guys, they probably did. They did stuff to these older cousins and old, like, you know what I mean? And I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I didn't. And but some people would have. You know what I'm saying? Some people would have messed around. I mean, that's just human nature. But that happened, and I just was weirded out. Like, I don't even know how I handled that. I don't know how I reacted the next couple days following that. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really think about it. I didn't talk to nobody about it. I might have told some other family members, but I don't know if I did. You know, like your cousins or your something like that. But I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell her. And that would have changed the whole opinion of her and the family. You know what I'm saying? So I can say I actually been through it. Then I had a pedophile pick me up in a car. I had a pedophile pick me up in a car and take me to his apartment and take me to a prostitute. I've been through some real stuff as a kid. Like, my brother didn't go through that. This dude was like in his 30s, mid to late 30s or something like that. And this was a complete stranger. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, I was totally smoking weed. I was like such a weed head, right? I'm just thinking, like, I'm chilling with this dude as a homie. I'm not thinking about this dude got other motives. I'm too young to think like that. I'm thinking, because when you that age, you just smoking weed with everybody randomly, right? So I'm just thinking that's all it is to it. I'm not reading between the lines thinking, what else did this person want to do? What else is on the agenda? You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking nothing about it. I'm just thinking about smoking weed. Like, because some people like that. They just cool, want to chill, and smoke weed, and go about your business. You know what I'm saying? Even they might chill with dudes a little younger than them, but you're going to blow a blunt, and then, all right, I'll let you, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like that, right? So I don't know, man. I just trusted it, right? He wound up taking me to a prostitute, to her house, and I'm only like 16, so I'm with it because I'm sexual, and this is a prostitute, but she didn't want to be with nobody underage. She was like, I don't get down like that. And that's the prostitute that I respect, because she could have easily got me as a young man, hooked on her, as a young boy, hooked on her and everything. She could have turned me out that day. She was already a prostitute. We was over her house drinking. I'm on the level where I can drink everything. I'm 16 years old, drinking 40s. You know what I'm saying? Hanging out with this dude, and he done took me to this girl. So he was bisexual. He liked women too, but she wouldn't let me and him come upstairs with her together, cause I thought it was cause she ain't like threesomes, but this was a prostitute. How she ain't gonna like threesomes? It was because I was young. She knew I was young, right? But she didn't say nothing to the dude. She might have did. She might have did. But I respected that prostitute because she didn't have sex with me when she could have. And when I seen her, she got herself together. See, little did she know. See, it was probably a test for her to pass, because she was in my neighborhood. No lie. This is a crazy, crazy story. She used to braid the dope dealer's hair, right? And so that's how I knew her, because I was a major weed head. I probably smoked weed with the homies. And she was braiding one of their hairs, right? She was braiding one of their hair, right? So that I knew her from over in my hood. She didn't know this because I was young. I was that young. I wasn't really on the block yet. So I was young where she didn't really know my face. But I knew her. It's crazy, right? Two different sides of town. I knew her from the west side. We were on the east side in her apartment. Crazy, right? And it definitely was her, because she had a certain body build. She was really slim, and she had a certain look that even most black women don't have. Like, just how her body was made, it was easy to know this was the same woman. So, but I respected her, because later on in life, I seen her and she had herself together. She had a big Tahoe truck, everything, and she knew who I was this time, cause I was at that spot with her. And it's a crazy story. Me and her talked after that, and I was like, yeah, that's what's up. You know, I'm glad you're doing good. I think I might have told her I was a Christian. I might have been a Christian at the time. And she was doing good. She had a big old truck, and she was a little woman in the truck and everything. So now she was back on the west side. This side, I noticed, was the same woman. Because now when she came back on this side, my side of town, me and her was talking on the streets. You know what I'm saying? And she was doing good, you know. But I respect her for not having sex with me. I might have said all of that. I might have said that to her. Something to that effect. But I was in the car with that pedophile. I might have explained that too. That he was a pedophile, you know what I'm saying? And she might have said something to me about it. But yeah, he was. You know what I'm saying? He took me to his apartment. He was in his 30s. And the thing is, he got me and my cousin. We was both at his apartment. Smoking weed like the homies, right? Because my cousin came from Atlanta. And while he was up there, me and him used to smoke weed together. Him and his older brother, he ain't really, you know, he wasn't really down like that, you know what I'm saying? But the younger brother was around my age. Me and him was, I think I was in the middle of their ages. But we were like, we couldn't have been no more than like a year, 3 years apart. About no more than that. So we was on the same level, you know, no more than 3 years apart. He might have been a year younger, or I don't know, or we was the same age, I don't remember, but we was definitely cousins, and he was from Atlanta. He was just like a cousin. We used to smoke weed, try to get together, smoke weed, and a couple times we didn't get caught though. We didn't get caught smoking weed, because you remember we was young. Our family didn't really know we smoked weed at the time. Because we got caught one time, me and my cousin from Atlanta, smoking weed, you know what I'm saying? He got caught. My family then knew about me smoking weed. My grandma's side knew about me. I think that's what did it. They knew then from that point I smoked weed, and my grandmother didn't care anymore. She didn't care. Because when she studied my habits, all I did was smoke, play my video game, and play. Mind you, this the 90s, so it was like weed was considered still like a drug. But she didn't mind me like smoking, and then I come in the house, eat, watch the game, play the game, and watch TV. That's all. I kept it simple. I didn't really do nothing out of character, nothing crazy. And for that reason, my grandmother didn't have a problem with me smoking weed. She didn't really have a problem with it. She know we run around a lot, and she knew why. You know, she started to realize why, but she didn't have a problem with it. She didn't down me for it. You know, she didn't reject me because of it. I smoked because I didn't really change, you know. But me and my cousin was over that dude's house, and he was putting pornography on. This was before the prostitute. That was the second time. The first time was me and my cousin. The second time it was me, him, and the prostitute. So I went over there like 2 times. So my cousin was he wasn't used to drinking. I think that's what it was. We were smoking weed and drinking E&J brandy. Like 16 years old, smoking weed and drinking E&J. Man, I was handling mine though. You know, my cousin passed out on the couch. I'm like, yo, wake up. This dude was weird. The older dude was weird. I was like, wake up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because this dude was showing me pornography in the other room. I'm like, okay, this is awkward. You know what I'm saying? That's the older dude who brought us over there. My cousin done passed out. My cousin from Atlanta done passed out. So the next time I came over there, he tried to take me to a prostitute and everything like that. And it didn't work out, so we came back to his apartment, started watching porn again. But I'm not catching the signals. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking this dude is... I'm not thinking what I should be thinking. You know, then he asked me, he said, yo, I pay you to suck your penis. That's what he told me. He'll pay me. I stood up. I was like, nah, you gay, man? He was like, I like women and men. That's what he told me. Okay, so I'm like, so he wanted to pay me, and I'm like, nah. So it was that kind of situation. You know what I'm saying? I went through that. when I was 16. So I've been through. I can tell you why I've been in somebody's car and he could have did whatever. I could have got killed. Anything. When I rejected him, he could have did anything to me. I was in his apartment and everything, high, drunk. I was drinking and smoking weed. You know what I'm saying? I was high and tipsy. Anything could have happened, and I wouldn't even have known. I was so young. I was naive. You know, even though young dudes would tell you, even selling crack and drugs, and even getting robbed. By the time I was 16, I got robbed a couple times. You still naive. You're still gonna be naive in the streets. You still gonna show signs of being naive. You just gotta grow as a person. And some dudes don't grow quick enough, and they wind up dying out there. You would think that they would learn from the things that happen. They don't. We don't. You go still make naive decisions, even though you done got robbed and everything. That's why stuff happened to young kids. It ain't that nothing ain't never happened to them before. They still make naive decisions, even though stuff happened. And they don't learn from it. We don't grow. They don't usually grow from it unless it's real, real bad. Like, you ain't gonna do the same mistakes that made something happen to you that's real bad. But you still make naive little decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like me going over there to that dude's apartment. I shouldn't have never done that. I was on the opposite side of town. Everything. That's what's crazy. I was way on the other side of town as a kid over this dude's house. You know what I'm saying? So I could give you the real stories of pedophilia. You know, the two major stories that I went through when I was apparently a kid, because I was a slim 16-year-old kid. I was slim. I looked 16. I wasn't like these 16-year-old kids that look like they 25. No disrespect to that, but I'm just saying I look thin and slim like a little 16-year-old kid. But I wasn't short, but I was thin, you know, and I was smoking weed, so I looked like a kid, you know. Boyish ways and all of that too, you know. And so I've been through real pedophilia situations. I guess that's why I don't sympathize with it. I think I understand it a little more than people that they ain't never went through it. Some people never went through it, so it's just like this monster, this Loch Ness monster type of thing to them, because they never experienced it. I think when you experience it, you kind of size it up a little more real. Like, these people just went the wrong way and they thinking, you know, are they necessarily monsters per se? I think they're just people that want young people. They don't care if they're young, you know, they don't care. I mean, so for people that haven't really experienced that, you know, you kind of got the Loch Ness monster kind of image in your mind until you really meet one, and then you can, like, whether it was in my family, and, you know, she was a normal kind of woman, but she just didn't care about sexualizing children. She sexualized me, and see, my brother didn't go through that. He didn't go through no woman sexualizing him. No. So I'm the brother with the. You want to talk about pedophile stories? I got the pedophile stories. I got them, you know what I'm saying? But did I sing songs about it? Like I like to say? No, I didn't sing a song about it, but you should know somebody that's attractive is going to have, I mean, in America, I hate to say it, like, if you're attractive, you're lucky if you make it out your teenage years without going through the things I just talked about. Because somebody's going to sexualize you and see you that way, right? And it's going to be in family. It's going to be outside of family. Like in both cases, in my case, it was in family and outside of family. Not just family, it was outside of family. I was being picked up by a pedophile. I was one of them kids in the car with the dude. My mom would have been appalled. My family couldn't help me. Anything could have happened. I could have got killed. I should have never got in the car. I should have never did it. I could have got killed. You know what I'm saying? So I'm one of them kids. I can tell you about being taken to a prostitute, real ghetto stories, like being turned out, right? And my brother can't tell you no stories about being picked up by a pedophile and taken to a prostitute and all of this stuff and everything, and him propositioning you money for sex and everything like that. I went through that when I was 16. You know, so that's why maybe I'm a little more before this situation happened, maybe I'm just a little less judgmental because I know what it really is, as opposed to this Loch Ness monster type of image where you never been around a pedophile or you never been around somebody that sexualized children. You don't really know the vibe, So I think I know more realistically what the vibe of a pedophile is. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to you might have these images from a movie. You know what I'm saying? And, it's more exaggerated. The predator nature is more exaggerated. Because in real life, it's not really no predator nature in many cases. It's not in many cases. It's just, they just real smooth with their approach. And, not too aggressive and everything. And once what happened to me happened, he backed off. And that was it. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. If I didn't want it to happen, he didn't make it. He didn't force me to do anything. See, you see how I formed my opinion? He didn't force me to do nothing. He came on to me, but I turned it down, and he took me to a prostitute. I turned that down. Well, I didn't turn it down. The prostitute turned it down. Because that's a woman for me. Now I'm looking at a woman. See, he knew what he was doing. He knew I would act out sexually with a woman, even though I was 16. This is a woman. Okay, he knew he could get me around a woman and I would act out. But she wasn't with it because I was young. So see, I got the real stories, But see, most of us do, and the main people who got these real stories about pedophiles do not go singing songs about it and harping on it and talking about it. They ain't gonna talk about it. So I'm skeptical being my history of the person that's talking about it. Because that's not normal. It's not normal. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that kind of forced out of you for somebody to talk about, for me to talk about these kind of things. But if you ask a woman that's very attractive what she's been through, she gonna tell you, oh yeah, I was sexualized when I was a kid. These beautiful women. Don't ask no ugly woman. Don't ask no ugly man. Because they ain't gonna give you the right answers. You gotta ask these pretty guys, these pretty boys, and these beautiful females. Ask them what happened when they was teenagers and stuff like that. Ask them what happened. They gonna tell, if they honest with you, they gonna tell you they got picked up in cars, all kind of stuff, just like me, just like I did. I went through it. If you ain't never got picked up in a car, I ain't gonna say you ain't go through pedophilia, but man, that's one of the main ways right there. If you were so attractive, you got picked up in a car, you gonna have the real stories. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that picked you up in the car when you was a kid and you ain't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like you got them kind of stories. I got that kind of story. Where I got picked up and taken to a prostitute and all of this stuff. And all I was trying to really do is smoke weed. At that time, I'm at that stage of life where I'm just trying to get high. I'm just trying to smoke weed all the time. Like a little teenager, and they probably attracted to that too. All I'm trying to do is smoke weed, get high. That's it. That's all. Nothing more, and then go about my business. But, some people prey on that and everything. But see, I got the real stories, I can tell you about. And but I'm not saying, if you notice, I don't talk about that a lot. Because why? Why talk about it a lot? I mean, it's something that it's unnerving, if that makes sense. It's not something you want to keep thinking about over and over again too deeply. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always skeptical of somebody that comes out talking about it, because it's not the normal nature of an American to come out talking about those type of things. I'm not saying some women do and people do, but I'm always skeptical because sometimes it could be because people want to blame you for why they're not successful in life. So they'll bring up stuff that for the sake of showing others why they're not successful. This is the person that basically is why I'm not successful or I'm not normal. This is the person that took normalcy for me or made me abnormal. And really, people say that after they fall off. After they fall off, now they go blame people for why, what my mom didn't do, what my dad didn't do, what my family. And you're just, and really, you're making a novice mistake of, when you fall off, now you want to look at your life and say who the person is that, who can I blame for this? What happened to me to make me, and the truth is, by the time you fall off, if it's for that reason, you are to blame. You just was a novice and amateur in life, and maybe you got married too young, and you didn't know what marriage was, and you fell off. See, what I would tell people is, when you're young, don't get married. Don't get married. I'm not saying go have sex, but I'm definitely not saying get married either. Because you it's a responsibility. You're responsible for that person, especially as a man. Your family and her family know you ain't no provider. Listen, you barely got a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of. How you a husband? And you can't tell no young dude in love with a woman, and you can't tell them nothing. You gotta let them make their own mistakes, man. And it never fails. It's always gonna happen because you're too young to understand what a marriage is. You're too young to understand it. And then and if not that, you gotta grow as a person. You gotta grow as a person to understand yourself, and then you might realize that I'm not even attracted to this kind of person. You grow up and you're like, I don't even like that kind of woman. Me and her was just lust. She was the first woman that I was with as adults, and we could have great sex and fun. And that's really what it was. And this ain't even the type of personality you will pick. And you might not want to hear it, but you're not the type of personality she would pick. She's too young to know what type of person she wants. So for me, what I would tell young people is the reason why you don't get married young is because you haven't lived long enough to know what type of woman you want. You got to see different personalities. You got to interact with those different personalities. The mistake that most men gonna make is the first thing beautiful, the first thing decently attractive. That's what you're gonna have sex with. That's what you're gonna say is your baby mama, right? But if you discipline, you wait long enough to interact with a lot of different personalities. Now you can say, I don't like them type of girls. I like this type of girl. You kind of start figuring it out when you're a kid, when you're a teenager. Like I knew I didn't like shy girls. I don't like no shy girl. And some people do. I don't. I don't like no shy girl. So then I done broke up with a girl because she was shy. I don't like shy girls. I like girls who like to talk. They got flamboyant personalities. Not a diva, but I like a girl that like to talk, that aggressive personality. You know what I'm saying? They got to be aggressive. I like that. You know what I'm saying? If they not like that, I don't find no interest in it. Because if a woman ain't like that, you need a woman that talk in your ear, talk lively. A lively person. You don't want no quiet person. Then you gotta live your life. That for each his own. But for me, man, I like somebody that's alive. You know what I'm saying? Like to talk and energy. You know what I'm saying? Like that type of person. You know what I mean? That's what I like. That's how you know you're with somebody, man. You got somebody with some energy. But like I said, to each his own. For me, that's what I like. I like that better. But see, I didn't live longer. I didn't date girls long enough to know that's the type of personality I like. Not somebody that's going out. Not even a go-getter. They can be a go-getter, but they're not. They don't have that flamboyant personality, that aggressive flair. You know what I'm saying? They don't got that going. So you could be deceived to think that a girl that got a little car, especially when you're young, she got a car, she in school, she in college. See, my girl, when I met her, my ex-wife, she was in college. So automatically, I'm attracted to her because she got something going for herself. You know what I'm saying? It seems like it's some depth there. You know what I'm saying? She's in school for business administration. She got a car. You know what I'm saying? She had a car when we started dating. You know, but I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm doing the music thing. She's in school, so I'm thinking like, okay, we can get these. We got dreams going on. She got some stuff going on for herself and everything. She's in college. That's looking good to me. But she never followed through and finished. She got credits and everything like that for business administration, and I don't know, man. I don't know what she did. I don't think she did anything with it. She just got a whole bunch of credits, and so you got to watch out for them type. Going to school but just getting credits really ain't. They're getting credits here and there, you know. But I'm a young man. She got a car. She's in school. I'm somewhat impressed, right? I'm somewhat impressed. But she wasn't my personality. She wasn't sure of herself. I got to have that too. She told me she was afraid that I would find some other beautiful woman or something like that, something to that effect. And that, you know, I need some pretty little thing that'll love me and all of this. This is what she was telling me. See, right then, what most men gonna do is say, nah, you the one for me, baby. You know how it is. Nah, baby, I want you. What you talking about? But see, if she feels like that, she's not gonna appreciate you because she doesn't really think that you want her. She don't really think that you want her, therefore she's gonna take it for granted that you want her. If she's confident in who she is, not arrogant. If she's confident in who she is, she know why you want her. And she should know why you want her. But a girl that don't know why you want her, right? A female that don't know why you want her is not going to appreciate you wanting her. She going to take it for granted, which means you're going to be mistreated. You're going to be taken for granted. She ain't going to treat you right, you know. And it's not going to work. See, I didn't see those red flags. The red flags are she don't even believe that you should be with her. You should be with somebody better than her. She already said that from day one. My ex-wife. But you as a man, you're gonna think, nah, I want you. But you cannot be with somebody that don't believe that you really should be with them. She's not, because the reason why is she's not going to appreciate you. Nope. You can try, but it's always gonna be that doubt. It's always gonna be that doubt that mess up the relationship. You gotta be with a confident person. If you're the type of person that try to be with the humble woman that really is kind of insecure about herself, man, that insecurity and that lack of confidence in herself winds up feeling that way about you. If that makes sense. And you're going to be taken for granted. You could try to love somebody that don't love themselves, but it ain't gonna work, buddy. You do have to love somebody that love themselves. You have to, because they gonna love you back. If I love myself, I'ma love you. If I don't love myself, how I'ma love you? And it might sound poetic, but it's true. Listen, you can't love somebody else and you don't love yourself first, because you're gonna get jealous. You're gonna get jealous of that person. You're gonna get jealous of that person's confidence. You're gonna come in worshiping that person. That's what's gonna keep them around. But after the worship disappears, now you're with somebody that don't love themselves, and therefore they can't love you. And so it's just a sad story. You know, you can't love people that don't love themselves, because they ain't gonna love you. And how I'm gonna step over not loving me, but I love you? See, it starts out like that. And then you make mistakes and they make mistakes, and then the worship stops, right? And then you see who the person truly is, and they don't really love themselves and they can't love you. And no matter how hard you try, it ain't gonna work. It may last for a little while, but it ain't gonna work. So you need to be with somebody that understands the love that you give, that you like their personality, and she likes your personality. If she acts like she don't like your personality, it's over. It's already over. Why would you dedicate yourself to someone that is already showing you, and you're supposed to live with this person for the rest of your life? Think about that. You need to be with somebody that loves you, which means you remember Pizza Hut used to have meat lovers, cheese lover. They gotta be a you lover. Like, they just indulge in you. They can indulge. If they can't indulge in you to the fullest, and they just love you, right? If it's not like that, it ain't. Man, why would you want to be with somebody that don't indulge in who you are? They can't get enough of you. You gotta be with someone like that. If you ain't with somebody like that and it's barely working, how you gonna be with them for the rest of your life? And see, a young person ain't gonna understand. They can't even see ahead. They ain't lived long enough to see ahead, to start seeing the patterns of life. And now I'm gonna be with this person for years. A young person don't think ahead in years because they haven't lived years yet, right? So they can't think in terms of these years and years and years ahead. Then I'm gonna be with this same person, and we already making mistakes. For your family, it was red flags from day one. Well, how y'all struggling already is the question. Y'all got a long way to go. Y'all got a lot of living to do. See, this is what your parents don't tell you, though, sometimes. You got a lot of living to do, and y'all already arguing with each other. Y'all already tripping. And y'all got all that living to do. They don't want to tell you ain't going to make it, but they already know. Because in the beginning, that's the best time. How it don't work out in the beginning? The best time is the beginning. That's your foundation for why you keep going. You're going to remember all these good years, but you don't never have them. Think about it. If you don't never have them, what you got to hold on to? Nothing. You can't look back and say, I'm going to keep this going because I remember this, I remember that, I remember how it used to be. This is what keeps me in love with this person. You ain't got none of that going on because y'all was arguing during the beginning years. Nah, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. And see, the thing is, when somebody say it ain't gonna work, it can last 5 more years off of money, sex, and love, and it still ain't gonna work because you ain't compatible. See, compatibility is a whole nother lane. It's something that takes discipline, but if you're not compatible, you can have all the love in the world, but that person is just not your cup of tea. They just not your cup of tea. And you're depriving yourself of what you really want. You want somebody that talk all the time, lay in the bed and talk all night long. You need that type of woman. That's what I would need. I need a woman lay in the bed and talk all night long. But you might want a quiet woman that don't do a lot of talking, and you can kind of vibe with her energy better like that for you instead of all the talking. For me, I need a woman that, talks a lot, like to lay in the bed and talking all night long. I need that. You know what I'm saying? Like in my life. But when you're young, you don't know no better. You're going to go after love. Love ain't going to make it work. Compatibility is what makes it work. I'm telling you what I know. You can love each other. How many times you don't love people? You really did love them. It didn't work, did it? You know why it didn't work? Because y'all wasn't compatible. Compatibility is the most overlooked dynamic of a relationship. You can love, you can have money, but if you go on a vacation with a person that you don't vibe with, think about it. They not giving you the vibes you want. You go on a relationship, you go on a vacation with them, and y'all not vibing. Y'all got the food, y'all got the weed. I ain't got weed, excuse me. Y'all got the food, y'all got the alcohol, but other people gonna have the weed and all of that too. Let's just keep it real in real life. But y'all got all the props of a good time, to have a good time, but it's no vibe. It's not there. And it's people right now on vacation. I guarantee you, especially the night after Valentine's Day, they somewhere on vacation right now on the couch, up at night, ain't even in the bed with the person. Because y'all don't vibe. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't got that compatibility. You know what I'm saying? That's what keeps you with that person, that thing that, like, which makes you look at that person differently, like that connection. You know what I'm saying? If that don't happen where you can single that person out and look at them differently than everybody else, it ain't gonna work. That's just another nice lover. That's all at best. And it won't last. You know? You gotta have compatibility. If you don't have compatibility, love, you can have all the love in the world. But compatibility is what make it fun. You gotta have fun. How you gonna have fun if you ain't compatible? Because you're gonna be going in two different directions. In fact, your idea of fun is gonna be different if y'all not compatible. If you're compatible, you're gonna have the same idea of what fun is because y'all compatible. And that's usually what it is. If we don't have the same idea of what fun is, and being and even sexually, you know, if you're not even sexually compatible, man, that's not gonna work. It's not. I'm telling you, it's not love. It's not a lack of love. It's a lack of compatibility, and that's something you can't make happen. You can't. You either got it or you don't. You can't make somebody grow compatible with you. It's not gonna happen. They are who they are. And see, you wind up loving people and getting attached to people, and you break your own heart by loving people that you ain't even compatible with. You can't love people you're not compatible with. You can't sex down people you're not compatible with and get connected to them and all. That's where you messed up. We all do it. We all done it. That's why we go through these situations. We wasn't compatible. If I was with a musician like me, she would have understood everything why I dedicate myself to my music and everything, and she would have understood what I was trying to do, and she would have made my world more colorful going in that direction. Me and her would have been going down the same road together. You know what I'm saying? But if you with somebody that's just more practical in life and they ain't trying to hear none of that musician stuff, that's suicide to what you're trying to do. You have to. A musician almost has to date another musician. I'm serious, because it's not gonna make sense. Your life ain't gonna make sense to people. They gonna think you a bum. you put all your time into thinking about this music. You almost have to be with another musician to make it. You know, especially at the beginning. Especially now, once you get established, now you can find compatibility in other people, but in the beginning when you're trying to get on, you got to be with a woman that believes in you. You know, and my wife did believe in my talent. She did. Everybody I've ever been with believed in my talent. But you still can't. You're still not compatible with that person. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't gonna look at life how they look at it. Like, I'm just trying to. Being a musician, you're gonna think I'm trying to get on any day now. Like, it's supposed to happen any day now. That's how you're supposed to feel. That's how you're supposed to walk around. But what happens is when you're young, you don't have a balance. You're going to just try thinking you're going to get on tomorrow. And you might have the talent to get on tomorrow. But you got to, when you with a woman and you married, you got to do other stuff. You got to entertain, building a nice life while you're trying to get on. And you don't want to you want to put all your eggs in one basket and go after that dream, and you need somebody just like that. That's okay we gonna struggle a little bit, but we gonna pursue this dream, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that. Most women ain't gonna be okay with it. They ain't gonna be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Sacrificing for this dream to happen. They not gonna be okay. The average woman ain't gonna be okay with it. They gonna want to go after security and somebody that has a practical perspective on life, trying to get money, like getting a trade or going to school. And if you're a musician, you're gonna have to almost be with a musician for you to be understood. Particularly, it could be anything else, but with a musician, it's different than any other thing with this situation. You could be a basketball player and your girl have more confidence in you being in the league and all of that. And that goes for any sports. with being a musician, it's so much on a superstar level that many people can't believe that you could actually make it. But my ex-wife admitted that I was one of the originals, the ones with the talent. She admitted it all, but and her response was good, but that still is not compatibility. That's still, you gotta be with somebody that's compatible. I'm telling you. You know what I'm saying? You can love anybody. You can love anyone. You know what I'm saying? With time and being a good human being anyway, on top of that, you're going to build love for people as time goes by. Time goes by, y'all struggle together, y'all live together, y'all build memories together. You're going to build love off that. But that's not compatibility. Compatibility is when y'all can have basically nothing, and it's just that person you want to be with. It ain't about the money. It ain't about none of that. See, when you ain't got no compatibility, all it's about is the money and love. Love and money, but no compatibility. So it's all about the love. It's all about the technicalities. Okay, I love this person. I do care about this person. But when you compatible, you ain't even got to say that. You ain't even. It's just there. It's obvious. You know. That's what's gonna make you go through the up and downs in a relationship. If you're not compatible, it's not gonna work, bro. I'm telling you from experience. I know. You can love all day long. You can have great sex too, and still, if you're not compatible, it's going to be a lost cause. You're both going to express that eventually. It's going to be a lost cause. When you're compatible, you don't want nobody else. You don't want nobody else. You're going to think, and you're going to probably be right. You're not going to find nobody else. So if you're lucky, people say if you're lucky, it's better to love than never loved before. I say it's better to have been compatible than anything else. If you're lucky in the world, if you find compatibility, people that get you for who you are and what you're trying to do, they don't label you a bum. They think you're a musician. Because how many times we see these stories in these movies now where this guy, he's almost like a bum to the woman, but then he bounces, he gets off and he gets his music going, or the movies, or his inventions or whatever. And then the woman that was not really believing in him, she see him become a star. You need a woman that believes in you, man. Like you gotta have that. See, I didn't know that. Because see, a woman that don't go that direction, she gonna be thinking about the struggles of life. When you right there, you the one that can make it all better. You the one that can change her life and your life. But she gotta dedicate herself to it. She got to dedicate herself. She gotta dedicate herself to it. You know what I'm saying? If she don't dedicate herself to the vision, nah, you're going to be happy with somebody that really love what you do and believe in what you do. Compatibility, man, that's the greatest thing you can find, man. That's the greatest thing you can find. That's the greatest thing you can find. Love is one thing, compatibility is a whole different animal, man. You can, like I said, you can love. With time, you can love anybody with time, because you're gonna build memories, everything, all that kind of stuff. But compatibility, you can't. You either got it or you don't. Y'all personalities click or it doesn't. Bottom line, you can't make it click. You can't make your personalities click. You can tolerate each other and love each other. That's not compatibility. Compatibility is the way you think and the way I think is just. It's fun every day. It's fun every day being together. That's how it should be. If it ain't like that, tell you from experience, man. You got love and sex, and then if you're Christians, that's gonna be, in that case where you're not compatible, but you're still trying to make it work. It's gonna be worse, because you're gonna pray, you're gonna try to do the right thing according to being a Christian. And really the truth is, the problem is you're not compatible. It's not even the money. And that's the hardest thing for young couples to get. It's not even the money, the lack of money. that's making y'all struggle. Y'all are struggling because y'all not compatible. If y'all was compatible, you wouldn't care if y'all was homeless on the streets. You wouldn't care if y'all slept in a motel together. So the fact that y'all hung up on these issues of money tells me y'all not compatible. Because if y'all was compatible, you wouldn't be hung up. You wouldn't care where y'all was at. Both of you wouldn't care. You wouldn't care. You'd be in a motel together. You'd be anywhere together, on the streets together. I done seen it. People sleeping on the streets together, man and a woman. So it's not money. No, it's not. It's it's easy. It's very easy to shift the blame on money or a lack of money. But the truth is, you wasn't compatible with that person. They might have been infatuated with your looks or your sex, and that's still not compatibility. And that ain't, you don't have it. You don't have it. That's what it is. See, if I counsel people, I tell you straight like that. Nah, you don't got no compatibility, bro. You can't buy it. It's no need to try to keep this going because y'all not compatible. I ain't gonna try to sell you. I ain't trying to work. I'd rather help you go in y'all different directions right now than later. 10, 20 years later, you come to the same conclusion that I'm talking about right now. You love each other, but you're not compatible. When you're compatible, you can bounce off of each other. You complement each other. I can listen to both of y'all talk and know if y'all compatible. If y'all both are arguing, all back and forth, barking at each other, y'all not compatible. A compatible couple, they can sit there and bounce off of each other in front of a person. You ever seen that? You know, seen it a million times. The husband start talking, then the wife say chime in, oh yeah, and they both are talking to one person. It's beautiful. Two people are like talking in unison as one body to one person. And it makes perfect sense. Only way they can do that is if they're compatible. If they're not compatible, how they gonna be thinking the same and talking like that? Bouncing off each other that quick like that. Now they might punch in, but it's different than chiming in. You know what I'm saying? Chiming in and punching in is two different things. You see somebody chiming in, that's usually with the older couples. That's a compatible community. That's a compatible couple. If you don't have that in life, you don't have that compatibility, man. It's a lost cause, man. These days people do things for all the wrong reasons. You can find love, but not compatibility. You can have a person with just a good heart, and that's all that's being expressed to you. Is the good heart they got or the good heart you got. That's what's being expressed. But compatibility is how y'all bounce off of each other, how y'all complement each other. And so if you don't have that, listen, bro, I'm telling you, it's a waste of time. It is a waste of time. You'll thank me later when you say, okay, yeah, I'm glad I left. Because even though I went through some struggles with being in my first marriage, I left 4 years later. That's pretty decent. I divorced my ex-wife 4 years later, and I still enjoyed my life. I still got to do my music and things like that and get some respect for my music. Some people don't got the manhood to know when to leave, when to pull out of a relationship. You got to know when to leave, man. You got to know when to fold, You can have all the great memories in the world, but you got to be man enough to move on. You know what I'm saying? See, some people ain't built like that, bro. They kill themselves if they ain't with that person they married. I'm for real. Ain't no way in the world. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gave your years to the wrong person. That's the bad thing about it, boy. You gave your good years to the wrong person. And it could have been way better. It could have been with a better person, everything, man. That's the bad part about it, man. You could have gave your good years to somebody else. And see, when you're mature, you realize it's not their fault. It's not your fault. You just wasn't compatible. That's what it was. Because when you're compatible, you make it work. The compatibility is what's going to make it work. You're going to be right there with that person. If you don't got that, that's why it's not working. And how we know it's not working? Because even when you get money, why y'all still arguing? Y'all got a place to live. Y'all got apartments together. Y'all both working. What's the problem? You're not compatible. That's what it is. Because if you was compatible, you would be just glad to get into an apartment and have a job and working with and living with somebody that you love like that, that's compatible with you. You'd be glad to be in the same house with them. So if you got the true sign is, if you got the basics and y'all still struggling, it's not gonna work, man. Y'all not compatible. You got love, but you're not compatible. Because if you was compatible, if y'all could just get a little apartment to y'all self, that's gonna be good enough. If it's with your buddy and y'all laughing all the time, tripping, that's another thing. I would need a woman that laugh, all that. You tripping with your little buddy. As long as y'all got an apartment, y'all got some place to live together out the elements, where y'all can make love to each other out the elements. Y'all ain't in the bushes. You know what I'm saying? Hey, street people know what I'm talking about. Y'all ain't in the bushes nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out the elements and y'all got y'all little place. Y'all can cook cookies and bake pizzas, and I'm just with this person. That's all I want to be with. You know what I'm saying? If y'all ain't got that, if you ain't have that, if you ain't look around and have, y'all ain't have it, bro. You gotta admit it. You wasn't compatible. That's what it was. Because when you compatible, it's like your friend. You just glad to be with this person. You don't care if y'all struggle or not, long as y'all together. And then you're gonna be more motivated because you with this person. You find a man ain't working and don't want to work, he ain't compatible with that woman. If he was compatible, ain't no way in the world he can sit there and not work and they compatible. You're gonna be more motivated. You're gonna want to make that work. You ain't gonna want that woman out your life. You're gonna do whatever it takes. I don't care how far you gotta go. You're gonna do whatever you gotta do. See, the truth is, man, we find that out later in life, man. These women didn't motivate you that you was with because you wasn't compatible. If you was compatible, you would have went across the Red Sea just to go to work in the morning, just to be with that woman. If you don't feel that feeling, like you'll go eat cross town to keep that same woman in your bed, to be with that same woman. You don't feel like you'll go cross town for that woman. That's not it. That's not for you. That's for somebody else. And y'all wasting time. She gotta make you feel like I'll go anywhere. I'll go work anywhere to be with this woman. That's what works. And the only way you're gonna feel that, I'm gonna tell you as a man, you ain't gonna feel like getting up out your bed from somebody that you ain't compatible with. No. You can be motivated for yourself, true enough, but you ain't gonna be motivated by this person. And that's what I'm talking about. They ain't gonna motivate you. A real man is only going to be motivated by a woman he's compatible with. That's what's going to make it worth it. Even if you got love, it still ain't worth it. Okay, I love this person, but I don't feel it's worth it. All this hard work, but we ain't really got no laughter. We ain't got that. We don't bounce off each other. It ain't worth it, bro. It's a lost cause, I'm telling you. So save yourself some heartache and pain, and just move on. See, every real man had to do it. You gotta move on. You gotta move on. You know what I'm saying? Just move on. It might not be easy. I'm telling you. I can remember literally feeling sick physically to my stomach when you going through them breakups. When you young, you don't even want to eat. I've been there. You can't even eat. Literally, and then, but then you gotta do what you gotta do for your self survival. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta move on. You know what I'm saying? You gotta live on. You gotta live on. You can move on, but not live on. You gotta live on. And I think that's the main problem in the world. People if things don't work out, they can't see themselves without that person. And the truth is, they probably wasn't compatible. That's why so much struggle anyway. And they still ain't got the sense to move on. They don't want to move on. They just had great sex and love. See, that sex will get you too. You got great sex with somebody, you don't want to move on, but you got to. You got to, man. You got to move on. And what you'll find is if you find somebody compatible, everything else gonna be great. Sex gonna be great. You know, if you find a compatible person, but you gotta live it to know. You gotta move on to know. You know, and some men are weak, and when it's time to move on and the writing is on the wall, they'll kill that other person. They'll kill themselves. You know, they'll hurt other people and everything. You just move on, bro. Just move on. Just move on. You know what I'm saying? And live another day. And hopefully, if you're lucky, you will find someone that you're compatible with in this world. You know what I'm saying? That just for you, not for everybody, not for the streets, and not for everybody else. You know, you find somebody that you're compatible with. That's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you're gonna want is that one person that you're compatible with, man. And you'll be surprised at how many people don't really got it. I would say 40% of the people that's married don't have compatibility. The others, I would say maybe 58% of the people, they make it work with love and finances and things like that. And then you got kids coming to play. Then, you know, you're going to stay in relationships for the kids and everything like that so they can have a mom and a dad together in one house. You know, but the compatibility is not there. You know what I'm saying? People ruin their lives being with some. Think about it. That's like being connected to somebody for the rest of your life, and you know you and this person don't really get along. Why would you chain yourself to another person? I don't care if it's for sex, love. At my place in my life, I don't care what it's for. Money, sex, love. I'm not chaining myself to somebody I don't get along with. I'm not chaining myself to somebody who act like they don't halfway understand me and they halfway my enemy. You know, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it, because even if you get the money, it's still going to be a problem. It's still going to be, y'all don't get along. That's what's going to, see, you didn't live in that relationship long enough to know, even if you got money, it wouldn't have worked. It would have been other issues. Jealousy. My wife was so jealous. When we went to the grocery store, other women would pay me attention, right? And I'm oblivious. I'm like really into this person. I'm really into this woman. She telling me, oh, how does it feel to be admired, Marcello? I'm like, what? What is this coming? You know, where's this coming from kind of attitude? Because other women was looking at me and everything like that. She was jealous in the store, in the grocery store. That's why I'm not a jealous person. My ex-wife was jealous. We go to church, right? I asked a woman, could I use her pen, right? It's not stupid to me. I asked a woman, could I use, you got a pen I could use? She got up and left at church. And I'm on the other side of town. I'm like out here, like she got up and left in front of the whole church. I've been through stuff like that. Can you imagine how I felt as a young man going through that? I'm in church. I just asked a woman for a pen in the church, right? She see what's going on. She got up and left. She just got up and left. I knew what it was. Like, man, come on, bro. Come on. I just asked. I wasn't even paying attention to the woman. I don't even remember how she looked. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I went through that jealousy and stuff like that, man. You know, yeah. I'm like I said, man. Compatibility is what you need. If you can't find it, you know what I'm saying? You wait till you find it, man, because you don't want to live no life with somebody that don't halfway love like you, and they're not compatible with you, and you don't want to be chained to somebody that you know y'all don't kind of get y'all don't bounce off each other. You don't want to be with nobody like that. I'm telling you, not for no reason, not for love, money, or nothing. Because you're gonna see the money if they taking care of you. You still not gonna have that compatibility. So you still gonna feel that emptiness, even though you got food, you can hang out, y'all got a place to live. You still gonna feel that emptiness, man. I'm telling you. So you gotta have compatibility. Love complements compatibility very beautifully, but they're not one and the same. You gotta go after compatibility. That's what you got to go out to see. It's not said like that. You don't go after love. That's how you got your situation. Somebody tell you they love you, love bombing you and everything. Okay, but y'all not compatible. You can't fake that. You can't fake it. You can't fake compatibility. You can fake love though. You can fake loving somebody. You can't fake being compatible. It's gonna be obvious. You know what I'm saying? Like when you talk and how y'all interact, y'all don't have that understanding between each other. Y'all not compatible. Y'all not compatible. You know what I'm saying? You don't chase love. You chase compatibility. Because before love, what you gonna have first? If you meet somebody, what's the first thing you gonna have? Compatibility. How you bounce off this person? How y'all talk to each other? You like it, right? You ain't gonna have love first. How you gonna have love first? You just met the person. You don't even go with nobody that love you that early. That's a red flag. Somebody tell you they love you, you just met them. That's a red flag. Come on, keep it real. Somebody done that to you, and how did it end? Telling you they love you, they just really met you. Compatibility is what you start with. That's what you look for. How you bounce off somebody. If it could be a stranger, and you bounce off of them just right, like, wow, I like how me and her talk. You know what I'm saying? That's who you get the number from right there. You get the number from the one you bounce off of real good. That's who you get. That's the one you want. Love, nah, you can love anybody. Look at these people, man. Look around you. All these people that loving people, hurting each other, everything. They love each other and stuff. They're not compatible. Because they went after love. You don't go after love, you go after compatibility. When you don't see that, then you leave. See how easy it is? If you don't see compatibility, you go away. Okay, this person not compatible with you, you move on. You're not waiting for love. You see what I'm saying? You're waiting for compatibility. You find that, okay, yeah, me and her bounce off each other. We could talk all night long, everything like that. We can't get enough of each other. Okay, boom. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. When I hear that, okay, because that's what's gonna keep y'all together. It's compatibility, not love. Love ain't gonna keep you together. Compatibility is gonna keep you together. That's what you go after. You don't meet no stranger talking about, oh yeah, let's see if I got love here. How you got love there? You meet a stranger trying to see if y'all compatible. Right or wrong. That's what you start out with. Okay, boom. So that's how you figure out that's the one. You notice we never do, so a lot of guys, we never do that because we looking at all the wrong things. We looking at how cute the person look, all this, all that. All we just waiting for is try to get that connection, this vibe, or where we make a decision. We're looking to make that decision. Well, okay, she look good, she like how I look or whatever. We trying to just make it happen, to come together. I'm trying to talk to her to get together. I'm not really talking to her to see if we compatible. I'm not really doing that. I'm not talking to her to be compatible. I'm talking to her to get together, to have sex, or to just get that relationship thing going on, so that we can have sex and I can be with her. That's all. But you ain't looking for compatibility. You look for compatibility, boom. That's it. She knows it, you know it. Ain't no way around it. And it could be a woman of any level of IQ. Somebody knows when they're compatible with somebody else, man. You know that. You're going to say it, you're going to express it in so many words. But if that's not there, and you just think about love and being with somebody and sex, partying and all of that, nah. You got to go after compatibility. When you're compatible, that's what you go after. Other than that, you're wasting your time. You're wasting years of your life trying to make something work, with sex and money and love, and compatibility is what makes it work. You can love a million people. If you live long enough, you know that. How many people you genuinely love? How many women you genuinely love? More than one, right? So then, that tells you what you need to know. Which one was the one when you can love all of them? You can love all of them, right? So how you know which one is the one? That's how men get confused. We be going back and forth with all these different women. Once we done dated, we date them again because of love, right? But how you know which one is the one? Not the love. How you know which one is the one is who you're compatible with. That's the one. The one that you're compatible with. And that's not, listen, if you're an arrogant man, you're going to think you're compatible with everybody. You know the type. He think he get along, all women love him. He get along with all the women. He found out the hard way that's not the truth. Oh no, it's not the truth, buddy. You got to be humble enough to say, every woman don't like my flavor. You know what I'm saying? It's only one woman that's going to like you need to be liked, like your compatibility. See what I'm saying? You need to be liked, not loved. You need to be liked by a woman. Compatible like that, that's how you got to be. Other than that, man, you wasted your time, bro. I'm telling you right now.